All right, so welcome to day 2 of our 2-day, free business analysis masterclass. And we're going to take it a step further today. Remember some of the things that the content we said we were going to explore in these 2 days. We started off yesterday looking into business analysis and just helping you understand what exactly is business analysis, what exactly is a business analyst, what exactly does the business analyst do, all right? And we went ahead to also see the competencies of the business analyst, all right? And today we're going to take that a step further to reveal a couple concepts. I would say a few concepts that are, very particular to what you will do as a BA in this space, right? I'll be looking at the project management lifecycle as a whole, and then I will then begin to go into the software development lifecycle. And from there, we will explore 2 important frameworks as far as tech is concerned. So the first framework being Scrum, and the second being Kanban. Now, we won't talk too much about Kanban. Our focus will mainly be on Scrum, and the reason is because I want to help you see these other 2 roles that we deal with in the bootcamp, which is the Scrum Master role and the Product Owner role, all right? And that's the reason why we'll focus more on Scrum. Is that okay? All right, perfect. Quickly, if you were on the call yesterday, and you want to help us with 1 or 2 recap, feel free to raise your hand up and I will unmute you and you can give us a recap. Anybody like that wants to give us a recap of what you learned yesterday? If you learned a thing or 2 from yesterday's class and you want to give us a recap on the call, please go ahead and, just indicate with your hands up and I will give you a call. All right, Laurentia and Toru. So Laurentia and Toru, just like I gave Yvonne and I think Adeyinka $50 off plus the other discount, I'm going to give both of you $50 off if you're going to be enrolling for the course. So go ahead and give me the recap. Laurentia, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for the discount. What I remember from yesterday's session, which was very enlightening and insightful, was that a business analyst enables change, does not implement, but enables change in an organization, a product, a process, also defines problems or any bottlenecks, pain points, and recommends solutions, which benefit all stakeholders. Yeah, that's what I remember.
All right. So the business analyst will be the enabler of the change. So the change, we talked about change, we talked about enabling change in enterprise, and then we mentioned a few things about the enterprise and stuff like that. So yeah, you got that. Let's pass this on to Toru. I see Toru here. And Toru, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, Michael. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for also the discount. Yeah, you talked about BA, and I like the way you defined it for us, and you had to break it down. You talked about business analysis as the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that delivers values to stakeholders. And you talked about change. So I will just talk about break down how you did it, change, enterprise, and need. And you talked about how change is either creating something new or modifying something that already exists, and also you broke down enterprise, that enterprise is what makes up an organization or a group of organization. And lastly, need, you said need is either a problem to be solved or an opportunity to be cultivated or capitalized on. So this is what I would just say. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Toru. I really appreciate that. Thanks for the recap there. All right, so for those of you who were not available yesterday, we actually should have so I'm going to send that to you in the chat right now. Okay, so if you were not on the call yesterday, we actually do have a recap, okay, for the class. So I'm going to put that in the chat. You can, look at that later, but please make sure that okay, you know what? I'm going to suspend that for now so that I don't distract you. So towards the end of the class, what I'll do is I will put that in the chat. Is that okay? So we have the recording and it's on YouTube. We have the recording from yesterday. So I'll send you the link towards the end of the class. Is that okay? All right, so that you're not distracted. I just wanted to focus on the class tonight. And when you're done, you can go back to look at what we said yesterday. But I'm just going to give you a brief run through some of the things that we said yesterday. So again, if you're joining for the first time, all right, you're highly welcome. This is the second installment of two installment classes we're supposed to have for the masterclass. All right, so we dealt with quite a lot of this yesterday, and we will be moving into the software development lifecycle, and then how to build a product, which is similar to the software development lifecycle. And then I'll be talking about the MVP, Scrum, Kanban, Scrum roles, leveraging your previous experience, winning the job market, and then the role of certification. We just quickly, say a few things there. All right, so we went through all of these, talking about the skill garage, our processes, who I am, my motivation, and all of that stuff yesterday. And one of the first things that we landed on while we were trying to expatiate on business analysis was the subject of change, because business analysis is actually the enabling of change. So if business analysis revolves around change, it then becomes important and paramount that we understand change in itself. All right. I'm not saying you do not understand change from the context of, what you'll be doing as a BA and what we'll be teaching you throughout the span or the duration of the course. It's important that we put it in perspective, right? So yesterday, I helped you to see that change is actually one of two things. That change is actually you creating something new. That's number one, okay? That's the number one definition of change, is creating something new, or number two, modifying something that was already there. So it doesn't have to be net new. That's what we're saying. It doesn't have to be net new. It could be you modifying something that was already there. Now, honestly, when you become a BA and when you get a job, your assignment, whatever it is that you're going to do that they'll be paying you for, will not be outside these two things. I kid you not. Will not. I mean, I repeat it, and I authoritatively am saying it. What you will do as a BA will not be outside these two things. Whatever project they will give you is either you're trying to do something new for the company, implement something new like a process, you see, something new like a product, like new features in the product, or you're modifying something they already had. Maybe because there was inefficiency in the process, or it was not cost effective. So they want you to, help them revamp the process, rework the process, modify what was already there, and make it better. So what you will do as a BA will typically revolve around these two things: creating something new, modifying something that already exists. And then we went on to say that change is actually inspired by the need. Okay? And the need being a problem to solve or an opportunity to cultivate. Okay? So all this was our build-up to the fact that, business analysis is the practice of enabling change. So that was where we were building up to. We said quite a lot of things. Again, I would share the link for the recording with you, okay? And it's on the Telegram group. For those of you on the Telegram group, you probably would have seen the link, all right? Please ensure to go look at it. We said quite a lot yesterday, all right? So business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. And I highlighted certain keywords that if we were to, look at them critically, they will help us, understand fully exactly what business analysis is. And rightly so, that was what we did. Okay? So I helped you see what change was. And then we went on to talk about what an enterprise is and what makes up an enterprise. And then we went on to talk about the need and what the need is. And then we went on to talk about solutions. What do you consider to be solutions? Or how will solutions, look like when you are working on a typical job? All right? And what is value? And who are the stakeholders? Now, when we put all of this together, remember this is a recap. When we put all of this together, we came up with this definition, which I refer to as the skill garage definition, that helps simplify, exactly what business analysis is. So let's look at it. Business analysis is the practice. So it's a practice, number one. Okay? It's the practice of enabling. Now, that word enabling it's a nice, it's a keyword. Enabling. When you enable somebody, you are giving them what it takes to be able to get their work done. Like, when you say you enable, if you enable somebody, you are facilitating something. Let's look at the dictionary. I didn't do that yesterday, but it would be nice. Let's look at the word enable from the dictionary. Okay, let's just look at it. Okay, so there will be a few, words there. Give someone or something the authority or means. I think I like the part. I like the word means rather than authority, because the BA really does not have authority. He has influence. He tries to influence. So the BA tries to influence without authority. He doesn't have authority. Okay? So I won't go with the definition of authority in that, but I love the word means. Means. So you give someone the means to do something. Okay? You give someone the means to do something. All right? So empower. Empower it's like it, but not really. I wouldn't say really empower, but it fits. But I don't want to make it sound like you are kind of like an authority by yourself as a BA, because as a BA, you don't really have that authority, right, to empower anybody. You're just more of a facilitator, all right? You're like that conduit that gets things channeled from A to B, right? And make things work, all right? So I wouldn't really use that word empower in that way. Yes, it may fit, but I would rather not use it. Okay, so business analysis is the practice of enabling. You are facilitating. You are making sure that they have what it takes to be able to fulfill what they want to do. You see? So you're an enabler, right? Like if my son wants to get something, I know he's not working. I know he does not make money. So what I can do is give him some money to enable him. You see that? To enable him, to give him the means with which he can get it done. So think about it that way, that the business wants to get something done. The organization wants to get something done. All right? These guys have the skill set to do it. Oh, they have the skill set to get the work done. They know how to code. They can build a website. They know how to design. They can design, beautiful, high fidelity, websites and products. Oh, they know how to work on the process. Oh, they know how to put together a content management system. Oh, they know how to put together a customer relationship management, portal. They know how to put together blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is that the company wants to do. These guys are efficient. They know how to do it. They are skilled to do it. Then the question is, they are skilled to do it, but who is going to tell them exactly what the company wants? All right. So you are like that conduit that takes that requirement or what the business needs or what the business wants, that change that the company wants to achieve, and then you translate it into actionable. That's the right word. Into actionable requirements, into actionable, points that these people can take and then use it to implement. Oh, I want to build a dating app. Yes, we can just build any dating app. But is there anything specific that the business wants that is different from anything that we see out there? You will be the one to go get that information, right? Get that information, analyze it, process it, confirm it, make sure that it is the right thing. Everybody is on, is on board with that information. And then you communicate the information to those that will implement it. So you are an enabler in that sense, making sure that they do the right thing. But it may sound so simple, right? Just me sitting here telling you, oh, you collect information, you pass the information on. It sounds so easy, right? It sounds so simple. But between all of that, there's a lot that goes on. There's elicitation, there's analysis, there's confirmation. Sometimes you have to, do some modeling. You need to understand, sometimes you just need to understand where they are as a company, what the process is right now. How do they do what they do right now? Where are they having the problems? And how often do they have that problem? What are they looking to fix? Does it make sense what they're asking for? Or what is best practice out there? You see, so a lot of things go into that. And that is why you'll be paid that amount of money. You see, that's why you'll be paid that amount of money to get that work done. Because, companies invest. I would show you a website. It's just a part of a website that a company spent $250,000 building. They invested, you will not believe it. If somebody had told me that project was $250,000, I wouldn't believe it either. But because I did the project, I was the BA on the project, so you can't tell me otherwise. It's not something I need to be. I would show you. So you can't imagine that they invest that amount of money and then expect the project to not turn out right. And that is why they would rather pay you that money to make sure that you capture what they want. And if what they want is not the best standard, you can give them and advise them and challenge their requirements, okay? So that at the end of the day, you can build what is standard up to par. There's a lot of money that is being sunk in tech and sunk into projects. You'll be amazed. So they want to get it right and get it right the first time. You see? And that's why they need you. The first time I was a BA, I started my work as a BA. I used to come back home and question my wife and say, because I'd done a lot of, very crazy, hardworking, like crazy jobs, factory, cleaning plates, doing handyman. I've done all of that kind of job. But you see, this just one job that I was doing was giving me more money than all the jobs, all those 4 jobs I was doing at the time. Just this one BA job. So sometimes when I came back home, I'll be asking my wife, are you sure these people are not, there's something we say in Nigeria, are you sure say they know the wine meaning? Like, are these people, are they really for real? That's like kind of that kind of thing. Are these people for real? Are they really paying me this money for doing, because I didn't feel like to me, I felt like, are they paying me this amount? When they pay you, they give you money and you're like, are they really paying me for this work? Do you understand? To me, it was like, how can they be paying me this much for just collecting requirements, writing them down? But you see, I later got to discover that if sometimes you don't do that, that project may go south. And the money they will end up spending, making sure the project is rightfully, it's making sure the project is a success, will outweigh the money they paid you to ensure that the project is successful. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Let me see if I can show you something quickly. Let me see if I can show you something. Just this page. I know some of you will be shocked to your bones now. Huh? Just this page, implementing this page. This page. Huh? Just this page, cost about $250,000 as the budget for this project. Just this. I know you are like, a lie. It's a lie. Well, what do I gain by lying to you? Why should I come here and lie to you? I did this project. I wrote the requirements for these things, this field, because this is a wealth management project for different regions, right? So you have to make sure that all these regions have their own requirements. Like, this can change. If you change from Canada to British Isle, this thing may change. Can you see? It has changed. And then to Asia, it has changed. This was not what it was. I think they've changed it after I left. And then to United States, it wasn't like this before. Maybe they've done another contact. Then they come here. This is what I did. So there are specifics. Like there are some that would default to email. There's some that would default to phone. There's some, and there's a reason why they are doing this. There's some that, you see all this information now plugs into Salesforce, to a CRM in the back end. For those of you who don't understand what the CRM is, it's customer relationship management tool. But you see, you have to sit down with the people. So I have to relate with the people so this one is for US right now. You can see this is US, okay? Then we have the one for Canada, okay? If you go to Canada, all right, you then select any of the options, and then that's how you keep going for Canada. And then we now have the one for, if you're not in Canada, you're in the British Isles, for example, you then go to the contact page. All these things were information that was collected. And there are other things happening behind the scene. Because information collected here will be routed specifically based on, for example, in Canada, where you have several choices, will be routed to. So all that kind of information, you want to make sure you have the right information and you pass it on. To me, it was like, what is this? Simple work, right? You see, you're the one looking at it as, well, trust me, and that's the thing I tell the students. It is this process that looks hard. The work is not hard. Do you get me? Honestly, it is this process of getting the job, doing the training. You see, all this, the small money you want to pay for the training, you are saying, that is the process that is hard. When you get the job, ask, if you think I'm lying, if you have a BA friend, ask them. Ask them. Sometimes they feel like you will just sit down and say, wait, are they really paying me this amount for? Do you understand? Honestly, I tell you the truth. I tell you the truth. And the reason is simple. They don't want the project to go south. That's why they're paying you. That's why they're paying you. Yesterday, I told you that we have somebody on this platform. All right. I'll probably bring him next Friday. I'll ask him to come on the call next Friday. You know, he doesn't speak one flamboyant English. No, he doesn't. I would tell him to come on the call. Just a normal guy, He earns $208,000 in a year from one job. And this is the same thing he does. It's not as if he does anything extracurricular. Are you getting me? So it is this process of actually getting the job that is the big deal. The job itself. And that is why, it's one of the reasons why you see the market is so, because people now stay behind the computers, work from home, and they can get 2-3 jobs. Some of my students work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. They earn, in those 3 jobs, they could earn cumulatively like up to $300,000 and $350,000. Yes, they work hard. I know they work hard. Some of them they have like four computers in front of them. Now, do I support that? Well, let them do what they want to do. If you can do 3 jobs, well, do it. But you see, the downside of that is that the job that 3 people were supposed to share, and that is why more companies want people to come. If you notice, more companies are trying to do hybrid so that they can see people at work and reduce, people working from home and getting 3 jobs, 2 jobs. Because the job that 3 people, Bolaji, Chika, and Debo, is supposed to have, only Ella is having it. Do you know that? After pandemic has made it such that Bolaji can have 3 jobs as a BA. How many of you, you know that? Because Bolaji doesn't have to go to the office. And his work, if he has collected requirement, documented it, and done the necessary things, what is he doing again? So, you see, that's why it's one of the things that contributed to the job market being a bit choked. It's not as if the jobs are not there. The jobs will continue to be there. But there is somebody, there's one, if you check out of 10 BAs, you'll find 5 BAs that have 3 jobs, 2 jobs. So that job that you would have had, I have one of my students who just got another job from the government of British Columbia. We posted her success story not too long ago. That's her second job. Just this year alone, 2 of my students that already have a job, okay, got another job just this year alone. So you can imagine. All right. So it's just the process of getting the job. That's the big deal. The job itself, hard if you know what you're doing. Of course, and with our support, it's not hard. All right. So let's move away from this. I was just trying to explain a few things to you here. Okay, and so that we can go into what we have for today. Okay, the time is fast spent. All right, so for those of you who were not here yesterday, please try and get on the recording. We made it available. All right. Okay, so just to wrap this up, business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists. And that could be in a product, in the process, in their policy, in people. And I told you that if you're changing people or modifying people, how do you do it? Through training. Because sometimes as a BA, you'll be required to train people on the new implementation that you have. For example, if a finance department that used to use Sage changed to something, right? And the process is a bit different from what they used to do when they were using Sage. Now you may be responsible for showing them how to now use that new system. So it's training. You're training the people and equipping them after the implementation has been made, because you know the requirements, you know the in and outs and the inner workings of these things, and then you can tell them what to do. It's part of the job, right? So, that modification can also mean training of people, okay? By first defining the problem, understanding the opportunities, understanding their pain points, and then you can then recommend solutions based on the information you've gathered, based on the research you've done, based on the elicitation that you've done. You can then, make recommendations. And I mentioned something important about recommendation yesterday, that it's not a solo job. It's not as if they are waiting for Grace, waiting for Ella or Debo or Chika to come and give them recommendation. No, this recommendation is a sum total of all the information you've gathered from people. And you remember what that lady said yesterday from the video I showed you? She said, as a BA, you don't need to come into the project as somebody who knows. When you're not a subject matter expert, except they are bringing you as a subject matter expert, that's the only reason you will come there as somebody who knows what you're doing. You don't have to come into the project as somebody who knows. You're actually going into the project to go and ask those that know what you should be doing. It's funny, right? Because people, that want to transition into tech as a BA, they actually think that this tech thing is about them knowing something, knowing what they want to go and do. But with BA, it's different. You actually go there to go and ask the people that know and collect information from them. It's funny, but it's true. It's funny, but it's true. That's the reality. It's true. And you're going to see it as we carry on talking about this. So please grab the recording from yesterday. I won't say too much about all of these. So we looked at quite a lot of things. We looked at, who is a business analyst? And I told you that some of you are already business analysts, and I was able to prove it to you, all right? Based on the type of things you've done in the past, you can leverage that. You don't have to start from the bottom. You can leverage that to get mid to senior level roles. And I'm not kidding. Mid to senior level roles. I said it to you that not every one of you will get a six-figure job as a start, which is fine. At least have your foot in the door, okay? Maybe some of you will get a 90K job, 85K job, right? Maybe you were earning 35K or 40K, you double that to 80K or 90K. Some of you will hit 125 for your first job, all right? But you see, what is most important is that you've made progress. You have your foot in the door, and then you can progress from there. Don't let anybody sell the lie of, yes, six-figure salary is real. Don't get me wrong, it's real. Okay? I mean, we've been there. We earn six-figure salaries. But the reality is, as much as we all tell you six-figure, it's still marketing. Not everybody will start with six-figure. That's the reality. Okay? But you would start with something very significant, maybe 90K. And then after 6 months, you can just switch up. And then before you know it, you're earning 120, you're earning 140, you're earning 150. You see? You get what I'm trying to say? So, don't be too hard on yourself, okay? Thinking that, oh, it's going to be, after I'm done with this, it's going to be, no. I would rather earn 90K a year from one job that doesn't stress me than to do 4 or 5 jobs to earn that 90K, or to do 4 or 5 jobs to earn that same 120K. The mental stress, the physical stress, and all that stress, the 120K is already gone. What's the point? Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so that what I was actually trying to tell you was that as a business analyst, you don't need to have that title to be called a BA. What you need to be conversant with is, have I done what BAs do? Have I done something that a BA would do typically on the job? And if you've done what a BA would do, then you are qualified. You own it with all your chest. You are qualified to say you've done a BA role. Yes, and then you talk about what you did, talk about your contributions, talk about the projects that you did. Yes, 100%. You see, 100%. Because I know, and that's what I tell my students in the 10th week when I'm teaching them about work experience. I know some of them are Christians, some are Muslims, some of them are Christians are saying, I don't like lying. My heart doesn't make me, it's like I am lying. Who told you you're lying? I just told you that you are a BA. Even the textbook said it, that you are a BA if you have done a BA task, even when they don't call you a BA. So it means that if I call myself a BA because I did that thing, I'm not lying, because the textbook says it. That's it. Textbook says it. And one of the things you need to realize, guys, I will go into the topic for today, but there's sometimes I like to just tell you some of the, the way the mind works. Now, listen, you are the one to sell yourself. Oh. If you sell yourself this low, if you sell yourself short, the people you are actually trying to sell yourself to will also look at you that way. You are responsible for how people take you. You are responsible for how people define you. Note that. You are responsible for that. You are responsible for how people take you. You are responsible for how people define you. It's the same way when you talk about your projects, you are responsible for how people see that project. If you go and talk about the project like it's one small project, it's not even up to $10,000. That is how the hiring manager is going to see you and say, look at this one, he has not done anything, massive. But if you take that same project and you talk about it, as like $1 million project, okay, they want to listen to you. Yeah, people don't know that. Some people don't know that. They have lovely projects in their palms. Some of you that have worked in banks. Some of you that have worked in construction. Some of you that have worked in HR. Some of you that have worked in, you have these things, arsenal in your hands, but it's how you say that matters. You see, it's how you express that experience that matters. How you express it is what matters. We'll get there. Okay, so yesterday we were able to say, okay, if you've driven change, improve business process, help to launch a new product, improve the current state of a product, help to maximize product and save costs, make the process more efficient, help the business gain competitive advantage, recommended. We said all of these things. If you've done any of these things and even more, you are a business analyst. You're the only one who is not aware. You're the only one who doesn't know. You see? And I promised you that today I was going to show you 1, 2, 3, CVs of people whom, if I put the CV in front of you, you would actually think that all their lives they were BAs. And you see, the thing they captured on their CV, it's not a lie. It's actually what they did. But it's because now they understand business analysis. So they superimpose the skill set and the knowledge of business analysis on that experience they brought from construction. You take the business analysis and superimpose it upon that experience you are bringing from finance. You take the knowledge and superimpose it from that experience you are bringing from oil and gas. You take that experience and superimpose that knowledge and superimpose it with that experience you are bringing from education. I was a university lecturer. My first job, I talked about a project from the university. But I had to use my skill set and my knowledge and put myself in the shoes of a BA. Now that I know what a BA would do, I then put myself in that shoes and I was able to talk about what a BA would do in that similar circumstance. Tell me how that is not a project, sir. Tell me how that is not valid. Please. How? How is that not valid? You're the only one who thinks it's not. I posed the question to you yesterday, and I wanted you to go think about it. Answers, I will give it to you in the 10th week. I asked you, what is the proper yardstick, okay, for measuring work experience? Who told you? Where did you read it? That work experience is measured by time. Huh? Where? Who told? It's because we just came and we met it. So nobody challenged the status quo. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is a subject I researched myself. So I'm bold to talk about it. And like I said, I give a 2.5 hour class just on work experience. It's 3-dimensional. Work experience is 3-dimensional. You see that thing called time is just 1 dimension. There are 2 more dimensions to work experience. And that is where you win as somebody who is coming into this game as a newbie. That is where you win. Yeah. Okay. So we looked at the roles and responsibilities of a BA and then the core competencies. And I'm going to move from here and go into the software development lifecycle. Okay. All right. So this is where we really wanted to kick off today. Is that okay? All right. So grab your pen and your paper, and we're going to kick off from here today. Now, for me to help you understand this properly, okay, let me quickly show you one or two things. Because some of you may be asking, Michael, but we just started this thing yesterday. How are we doing software development lifecycle? How did we get here? Some of you may be asking, how did we get here? So I want to help you see what is the relationship, okay, between what we said yesterday and where we are now. Is that okay? All right. So let me do this. So remember this, listen attentively. We've kicked off for today. So remember that the business analyst is responsible for enabling change. We established that yesterday, that the BA is responsible for enabling change. Now, we also mentioned, remember that picture I showed you, the picture I showed you. Again, if you're not here, you were not here yesterday, the link to yesterday's class will be made available to you by the end of the session. We said that the change is delivered through the vehicle of a project. Okay, a project is you doing a series of tasks to get a particular outcome. Does that make sense? Now that outcome is the change. But what then happens in companies is that when you are in a company, or if you have a BA friend, go and ask that BA friend what I'm saying right now. They won't come to tell you that, Jimo, I want to put you on a change. No, they won't come, they won't tell you that. Oh, Layo, I want to put you on a change. Moyo, I want to put you on a change. No, they won't say that. What they will tell you is, I want to put you on a project. Are you following me? Because the project is actually, when you work the project, which is a series of tasks that you do, when you work on this project with the rest of the people and the rest of your team, you are going to bring about an outcome. That outcome is the change they want you to carry out. Please follow me. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because as a BA, you cannot escape project. You understand? You cannot escape project, because project is how you enable the change. So it then becomes important for us to begin to look into projects and how a project is approached. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Now, remember that a project is a series of activities that you have to complete within a given period of time to achieve a given set of outcomes. Okay? And that outcome, like I told you already, of the project is actually what we refer to as the change, which is creating something new. So that something new was actually the outcome of this project. Are you getting it now? That modification or revamp or whatever it is that you call it, or the process of policy or whatever it is that you call it, was actually the outcome of this project. And that is what you call the change. So the change is actually carried out through the vehicle of a project. So that is why when you come into a BA class, we teach you project. We teach you about the project lifecycle. We teach you about SDLC, and I'm getting there. Okay. I just want you to understand why we are helping you see this. Do you get it? And all projects will have to go through a life cycle. There's a project life cycle. I'm not going to go through that today. Okay, that's not my aim today. Okay, I will do that later, but not today. Okay, it's called the PMLC, the project management life cycle. Okay, every project will go through what we call an initiation stage, a planning stage, an execution stage, and a closure. Now, I'm not going to be saying too much about that today. All right, I'll be focusing more on the execution, but not today. I won't look at the PMLC. Is that okay? So I'm going to move on. Now, when you come in as a BA, there are different types of projects that you work on. IT projects, policy projects, process-related projects, you see. But most of the time, okay, you are mostly in the IT space building, software that supports the process, supports the policy, and all of that stuff. So presently or currently, you can ask any BA if you have a BA friend. All right. I've told you yesterday that don't take my words for it. You can always bounce my words off somebody that knows, okay? But I can tell you that I'm telling you what I know is standard as far as this space is concerned. I've been here for a long time, so I know what I'm talking. All right, so for the most part, 85% of your projects, 80 to 85% of your projects will be in the IT space, in the software space. Oh, somebody may want to challenge me and say, but Michael, what about processes? What about processes? Okay, let's talk about that. Processes. Tell me one process in organizations. Tell me one process in an organization that is not powered by software, that's not powered by systems. Tell me. Think about it. Think hard. Tell me one process in today's organization that's not powered by software. Huh? Even marketing is powered by software. You see? So systems are really the backbone of most of the things that happen in the organization. You see? In fact, simple things as coordinating end-to-end footprint of an employee within the organization ecosystem is monitored and powered by systems. Are you getting me? So when you turn left and turn right, it is IT and software and systems. And that is why we tend to, please mark my words. I'm using I'm using my words, very delicately here. We tend to focus more on the software side of things, on the product side of things. It's not to say that process is not important. Of course, I can teach you process in 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. Because as a BA, if you are on any process project, it's just a set of things that you do to work on a process, on a broken process. Yeah, there are a few steps to what you do to work on a broken process. So let me pause this and let me show you that. Okay, and then I'll come back here. Is that okay? There are a couple of things you do if you were to work on a process-related project. And it's very simple. Fixing a broken process. The first thing you want to do is understand what is broken. You want to understand the problem. Yeah? You want to understand what is actually wrong there. That's the first thing you want to do. You also want to understand how do they currently do that thing now? How do they currently remember? As part of your work as a BA, you try to define the needs, define the problem, define, the pain points, right? So as part of that, you want to map out what exactly do they do now? How do they do it now? Where are the redundancies? And by doing that, you now begin to understand where the problems lie. And then, by reason of more conversation with the business, you will now understand what they want to achieve, which is the to be. Now, for some of you, when you go to and look at job descriptions, you will see what they say as is to be. Now, the as is the current state, how they do things currently. The to be is the future state, how they want things to be. So between the as is, which is the current state, and the to be, which is the future state, right? All right? The as is, which is the current state, and the to be, which is the future state, there is a gap that needs to be filled. And that is where you will now hear business analysts say gap analysis. So look at it, please listen carefully. So you look at, process is very simple. It's simple, it's the most simplest thing. So I don't need to bother myself. You understand how things are done currently. You understand how they want to do things in the future. And then there is a gap to get in there, right? You analyze what that gap is and analyze what it is that they need to do to actually fill that gap up. Now, when you analyze what they need to do to fill that gap up, that thing, what you come up with is what is called requirement. That is what you will now hand over. Maybe at the end of the day, you and your team will brainstorm that solution. You will brainstorm what it needs, what it takes to bridge that gap. You see, by the time you confirm that that is what they want, you will then document it, send it to those that will actually do the thing or do the work, implement the thing, and then they will implement the thing. And you will be there to support it. And then if you are responsible for change management, you will also be able to communicate that change. Do you understand? You'll be able to communicate the change. And then if you're still staying towards the end of the project, you may be monitoring and doing continuous improvement. So what is there in the process? What is there in fixing a broken process? So that is why we don't really, when you go to business analysis boot camps and things like that, we tend, even your project, we tend to give you a product. Because somebody will say, is it only product we'll be doing? The reason why we are doing it is because when you build a product inside the product is a process. Do you understand? The lesser is included in the greater. So the reason why I'm saying all this story, the reason why I'm telling you all this drama and giving you all this is so that I want to help you understand why we are taking you towards product. You see? Because even service, think about it. Okay. How do you even define a product in the first place? What's a product? It's a product. How do you define a product? Think about it. How do you define a product? Anybody, how do you define a product? What's a product? Think about it. Because the change that, I don't want to go on and on, but listen, we explore this. Just give me a minute. I'll show you something. Give me a minute. I'm going to show you something quickly. I teach this in the product ownership module, is the module 4 for our, that's where it's the product ownership by itself. I teach about the product and then move on to telling you about the different types of product. Product can be physical, can be virtual, can be a service. So think about it. When you're talking about the process, what is the process powering? Is the process not powering a service? Is that process not powering a product? So you see that the lesser is included in the greater. So when you start attacking trainers like us for putting you on a project that is a digital project or a product-related project, you are the only one you don't know what is happening inside. Let the mentor help you take you there. You don't know. You've not been there. We are the ones that are there. We know what's happening. So putting you on a project that is a product-related project actually has process inside of it. Tell me a service that is not powered by a process. Think about it. So in the process of building the product, you will build the service. Sorry, you will build the process. Does that make sense? So when we say we are putting you on a life project and we say, yeah, build this, don't say, is this the life project? Do you know more? It's the life project. I just showed you a project that is $250,000 and the whole project, the beginning and the end of the project is a contact us page. A project. One of my students, because we do on the job support, came and did on the job support. Guess what our project is? Guess what our project is? Registration workflow. Registration workflow. Meaning, you see all the things that my students do. Okay, let me show you. For example, I will get there. I'm trying to help you understand that this thing no hard like that. No hard like that. You see all these things. This is one project for my students, one project. But somebody's project, when they went to work, when they employed them, was just these two, registration and login. It's called the registration workflow. It's somebody's project, just one person's project. I'm not kidding you. That's her project. So she was meant to write requirements because they were using different related platforms. And they were different users. Just like you have different users on this particular project. Okay, like you have the grocery people, the store owners, so they have different, and it's an insurance project. But she was just meant to work on the registration pipeline, the registration flow. And that is a full project, somebody's full project. So, full human, that's his project. And they will pay him at the end of the month or every 15 days for doing that thing. Something that my students are doing the full thing. So again, listen, that road to breaking is the hardest part. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you the road is easy and straight. And when you're done with the Kiniko, no, it's not like that. It's hard work. You have to be committed and dedicated. And that's why sometimes I have to give you psychological talks to help your mind. Because once this mind cannot see it, once this mind cannot break through all that negativity, because you're going to see rejections. And I said yesterday, I told you yesterday, that even a customer service job gets rejection these days. Unlike the time I came to Canada, where if you apply for, before you sneeze like this, they're even looking for you for customer service job. Now, who is looking for you for customer service job? You will apply. They will reject. One person is collecting 3 people's job. So that is there already. There is no sector that is easy. So don't say this B18 market is saturated. Who told you? It's not market that is saturated. The people that are more dogged than you are getting the job. You're not as dogged as they are. Listen, if I give myself a target now that I want to get 3 jobs by the end of 1 month, I will do it. I will do it. All I just need to do is sit down. Listen, looking for a job is a job. I'm tired of, pampering students that just feel that they will just come and do shegelenge. They will just do the course for 10 weeks and, it's just a one-way ticket to getting a job. It's not it. There's a lot of things that go in there. You network, you speak, you do personal branding, you go on the internet, you go on LinkedIn, you show up. That's what today's world is about. Yes. It's either you take it or you leave it. Then you don't need a transition. You don't need to be here. Don't waste your money. Keep it in your pocket if you do not want to do the work. Yeah, I know you've heard people tell you, we're going to connect you to partners, we'll give you, and then at the end of the day, you have a job. It's a lie. I can categorically show me one. If that is how it is easy, how many success stories did you see from there? If it was that easy, it's all marketing. And I can do the same thing, but I won't do it. You see? So, get your information right. There's no place that is easy. If you decide you want to go to cybersecurity tomorrow, because everybody's going to cybersecurity, it's not even easy that way. 2, yes, the job is plentiful. The job will be there. Just like the jobs are there for business analysis. You that didn't get the job yesterday and you were rejected, another person got 2 jobs yesterday. Think about it. So again, you need to assess how dogged and how bad you want it. I mentioned something yesterday. It's not your how, it's not your what. All those things can easily be accessed. It is your why that will keep you through. So whether it is BA today or PM tomorrow, or product manager or cybersecurity next tomorrow, listen, it's your why that will keep you standing when the rejections start hitting you. So nobody promised you it's going to be easy. No, it's not like that. Nobody said that. Okay, back to the point. So back here, when you're running a project, it goes through a couple cycles. There's the initiation of that project, there's the planning of the project, there's the execution of the project. I know some of you, a lot of information is hitting you right now. Just find bulletproof and absorb it, don't worry. Just be like sponge, be like sponge so that you're getting all the thing and making it soak. When you squeeze you that information has come out. Something has entered you today. I don't want to waste your time. If you give me 3 hours of your time, I want to make sure that 3 hours you spent it rightly, because even God will hold me responsible for wasting your time, and I don't want to do it. Okay? All right. So let's go. So projects, most of the projects, all that I said was that almost all the projects you're going to be doing are going to be IT related, product related. So don't think, where is process, where is Kinikon, where is that? Okay? And because that is the case, it then becomes important for us to show you how those projects are actually executed, which is the SDLC. The software development life cycle is actually the step-by-step, okay, software or system, because softwares make up a system, okay? Integration of software makes up a system, right? So softwares or system development life cycle, right? And that is why we show you the step-by-step process for executing a software. Now, there's a lot I can say in the SDLC, but because of our time, I don't want to use my slides because it would be a lot. There's a lot to say. So I'm going to condense it. Now, also know that this is a quick, fast, and furious kind of class. So it's just, again, remember what I told you yesterday. It's just so that those of you who didn't have an idea, what is on the other side of the fence? Do you understand? You know, maybe because of finance. Because person will not get money today, he go get money tomorrow. No be so. Sorry, for those of you who don't understand me, what I said there. I said the person who doesn't have money today will have money tomorrow. So we can actually help to, you know, help you understand what is at the other side of the fence. What I mean by that is some of you have been hearing BA, Business Analysis, Scrum Master, but all you see is on YouTube, and sometimes it may be very confusing. You see, you do not have the privilege to be in a conversation like this one, except you pay money. Does that make sense? Yeah, I know. So what I'm doing in these 2 days is to give you the enlightenment that you would have gotten with money, so that this enlightenment can help you do 2 things, one of 2 things. Number 1, help you toe the path of self-discovery. So basically, you can now leave here and decide, you know what, I don't have money, Michael, and your bootcamp is too expensive. I understand, and I understand you properly. But what I would have done is that I would have shed the light for you to walk, to know where to go. So you can now go online and begin to see how to, you know, to take your steps, all right, and get there. But for those of you who would need the hand-holding and the mentorship, I've also given you an opportunity to then see that this is possible, all right? And then you can take that path too. Either way, at least you would be living here with something, especially for those of you who don't know, who came here, and I asked the question yesterday, how many of you are completely new to business analysis, completely new to Scrum? And so many of you said yes. And I believe that as at yesterday, at least you got to know 1 or 2 things that you didn't know before you came on the call. For me, mission accomplished. For you, there is a next step. The question is, would you just stop where you are now? And that is not to disregard the fact that there are some of you on this call that are already practicing, or some of you on this call that have done a training before, you see, and it's just a bit frustrating. Now, if you're that person, what I can tell you is don't give up. It's like that. Life is like that. Keep pushing. Listen, it will, and also make sure that you are doing the right things. Not that I will ask you now, how many times did you apply this month? And you tell me you applied 20 times. You applied to 20 jobs. Are you okay? Are you okay? You're looking for a job in this era. You're applying to just 20 jobs in a month. Leave all those people that are writing essay on LinkedIn and saying, yeah, the right way to get 10 interviews after is a lie. Follow Jerry Lee. You know that guy called Jerry Lee? He's the owner of Consulting. He recently did an experiment, submitted his own CV to 100, a whole Jerry Lee, submitted to 100 this thing. How many interviews did he get? Forget all those storytellers on LinkedIn. It's all content. Anybody can write nonsense. You understand? It doesn't matter. Yes, I say it with all my chest. So please don't swallow, pills of negativity just because you got a couple of rejections for the 30 jobs you submitted. It's like that. All you need is 1 yes. So don't give up. All right? All you need is 1 yes. Autant. And once you are in there, you are the one that defines your path. Upward and forward, Nico. Upward and forward only. You see that? All right. So, software development lifecycle is a step-by-step process for building a software-related project or a system. And I've told you why this is an important part for us to focus on. So let me now take you away from here, okay? And take you into this plain stuff, and then I will explain the software development lifecycle to you, and then we'll move from there, okay? Is that okay? All right, if there are any questions, please put it in the Q&A. There's a Q&A box. Put your questions in the Q&A, and towards the end of this class, I promise I'm going to attend to your questions. All right. And if I cannot attend to your questions on the call just because of time constraint, we can have a discussion later. Our contact is on the website, right? Okay. We can have a discussion much later. All right. Let's keep going. Now, SDLC, software development life cycle. Please listen carefully. Okay. Now, remember that software development life cycle is the step-by-step process of creating a product, right? And you'll be shocked that this thing is so simple. When I finish talking about it to you, you'll be shocked that it's simple. Give me a minute. Give me a minute, guys. Okay. All right. So you'll be shocked at how simple this is. Okay. How simple this is. So the first thing, okay, is called planning. The first step, okay, in software development is called planning. That's the first step. Now, there's a lot that happens in this step. But if I want to start explaining as if I'm doing a boot camp, honestly, we'll not live here. So permit me to just give you what I think is important. Okay? Now, in the planning phase, okay, this is where you want to focus on the scope and you want to ascertain and confirm the scope. Now, there's a lot of things that also happen there, but this is the major one. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, just for the sake of time and everything, I'll just focus on the major one. The major thing that happens in the planning is you getting to the point where you can fully say, I understand what they want us to build. I understand what they want us to do. I may not know the detail yet, but I think I get it. I know the boundary of the work that has been committed to me or committed to us or committed to my team. That is what happens in the planning stage. Now, I'm tempted to say a few things. And as simple as that may sound, okay? As simple as that may sound, there are several things that go behind the scene to get you to that point. I'll give you an example. This is a project we want to work on, and we've given you the brief that this is the project and blah, 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 like that. Let me see if I can show you a project. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. This is one project that is waiting for the next phase, which is design. It's a recent project for one of the cohort. All right, so we give them the brief that this is what we want to do. So just let's use this as a perfect example. So imagine you are the one working on this project, and this is what they gave you. That the Travel Together is an innovative application aimed at revolutionizing the way individuals seek and find travel companions across the globe by harnessing the power of intelligence, artificial intelligence. Travel Together will facilitate connections between travelers with similar destinations and interests, offering personalized travel assistance and recommendations. This project brief outlines blah, 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 blah. Now, objective is this and that and that. The target audience is this, and then it ends there. And then we have come to you to help us with this. Now you'll be working with the rest of the other team, product manager and the rest to get something done. Now, listen, at this point, do you have the scope of what we need to do here? Do you understand the boundary of the work from this brief? You know what we want to produce. Is what we call business requirements. You know the business requirement. But do you have the scope of the solution? Hello? Do you have the scope of the solution? Anybody? From what I just read to you now. Do you think you have the scope of the solution? Huh? Anybody? Put in the chat. Just put it in the chat. Yes or no? Do you have the scope of the solution? You don't. You don't. You don't have the scope of the solution yet. So this is where planning comes to play. But let me give you the other side of this, how it plays out in some cases. In some other briefs, let me show you something. In some other briefs, you may actually be given the scope of the solution. So in that case, it means that you don't need to do planning. Let me give you an example. Hold on, I'll give you an example. Give me a minute, I'll give you an example. Please listen carefully. I'm taking you somewhere with all of this. And it's my understanding that you would understand this. So let me show you an example of another project, okay? For example, if I gave you this project, this particular project, the Skill Garage project, and I said, TSG 2.0 is a website revamp project on web and mobile aimed at improving the candidate's user experience on the platform and providing blah, 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 blah. And then I gave you the problem and I gave you the solution that we are looking to have. If I stopped here, you will go and find out the scope. Like this is what I gave some of my students. So when I gave this to them, they came here. I'm going to move away from travel together. I'll come back there. So they came here. Let me show you some of the things that they did. So what they did is they did competitor analysis. They look at some of the competitors. I don't want to open that because you'll see some of our competitors there. So they did, competitor analysis. Part of planning, still trying to understand. Then they did the BRD, okay, business requirement document. Okay, for those of you who don't understand what that is, business requirement document, just to help me capture what is in scope and what is out of scope. Still part of that planning to kind of confirm exactly the periphery, you see, to confirm the periphery of the work and what we need to do. So they produced this, after they prioritized, did some prioritization work, and at the end of the day came up with a scope of work. And by the time that they came up with all of this, they were able to prioritize this. And then by reason of priority, we now know what we should be doing now, what we should do later, what we should do much more later, and things like that. So based off that, we were then able to come up with this. I'm going to teach you MVP today, so don't worry. I'll teach you MVP today, what MVP means. So we did this. We were now able to come up with a scope. Can you see? This is a scope. Now, you now know the solution, the scope of the solution. If this was what I gave you initially, you will now do all the things you need to do. Oh, who is doing what he's doing? What have they done before? You see what you're doing? You are collecting, you are collecting requirements. You are eliciting things from different people, from competitors, from different ways to do that. From maybe current students and things like that. And at the end of the day, you now find out, okay, these are all the things we need to build, but we cannot do everything at once. So we break it down into what is called a roadmap. So in the planning, road mapping is also one of the things you can do. An initial roadmap is one of the things you can do. Do you see that? Planning. Here on the Skill Garage, we call it, conceive and design. Sorry, immersion and vision. Immersion and vision. Because every company has the way they do their SDLC. This is SDLC, but every company has their own specific. So imagine you going to talk about this in an interview. I started with the immersion and vision, and then in the immersion and vision stage, they will know that this one, he knows what, it's like this one has eaten something good. You see? So we have those things here. You can see that here, that at this point, you are trying to understand the high-level requirement, which is the scope, right? From there, you can prioritize, and all these things are things that you are likely to do, like roadmap and things like that, all right? But the point here is that in the planning phase, you are trying to understand the scope of the solution. So in this case, after they did all of this, they were now able to come up with a scope of work. The same thing with travel together. If you go back there, let's go back to that travel together. So this is their work. This is the work that they did from the beginning to the end, right? So, okay. So they started with the problem statement, started going, looking at it, looking at the objectives, trying to understand everything. These are still part of their discovery. They were still trying to understand things because I gave them the work to do as acting as both a product manager and a BA. After doing all of these things, they looked at the competitors again. Okay? All these things is still in the plan, Why? Because they want to understand what they should be focusing on. At the end of the day, they will do a feature comparison, and then they try to understand, okay, so this is what we need. These are the people we are focused on. Okay, now, this is the features now. So now they now narrow down to the features. Feature number 1, this. Feature number 2, this. Feature number 3, this. Feature number 4, this. Feature number 5, this. So when they brought this to me, I told them, you know what? We can't finish all these ones or do all these ones in MVP. Okay? Let's prioritize. So we went on to Miro. So I'm trying to show you all the things that, because that thing I told you, let's do the scope. You think that it is just the scope. There's a lot of things that go in there. So we now go to Miro. Where is that their work again? Recent boards. Give me a minute. I want to show you. I think I went with them. I'm trying to check the board that they shared with me. Okay, maybe I may not see that board. Okay, let me just show you an example, right? I may not see the board right now. So we go into a board like this, and then we begin to take the requirements and prioritize it. And then eventually, the must-have, we now focus on that as the scope. So we'll now come back here and say, okay, for this work now that we want to do, okay, let's call it a dating app. Okay, let's call it a dating app. For this work that we want to do, number 1, we will focus on registration. After doing all of those work, but sometimes, remember, this thing would have been given to you. So if this is given to you in your brief, you don't need to do planning again. You understand what I'm saying? If this is given to you in your brief, you don't need planning again because the planning has been planned for you. So what you need to do is go to number 2, which we are going to go into. So let's say this is registration, login. Tell me some of the things you want to see in a dating app. Guys, go ahead. Registration, login, what else? Matching algorithm, like the matching. Okay. Chat, profile. Let's say profile management. Let's call it profile management. Okay. Profile management. Okay. What else? Somebody said age. Yes, age, but age is not a feature. Age is not a feature, right? Age is a component of a feature. So preference, yeah, settings. Preference and settings. Thank you. Preference and settings. Okay. Preference and settings. Notifications. God bless you. Notifications. Now you guys are getting it. Your brain is there. Search criteria. This guy. Let us give you the B of the year. Search criteria or search. Filters, location filters. Okay, let's just hold it there. Let's hold it there. Okay, let's hold it there. Let's assume that this is all that we are focused on because there could be a lot. Let's assume that we now understand the scope. You will now go to the next step. And this is your place. This next step. You are the baba of this step. Now you get this step. Now your own. It's your area. The next step is requirement analysis. That's the next step. So what happens in this requirement analysis? This is where you now deep dive. You do a deep dive into the scope. So all that one we just threw away, registration. Listen, the registration for a dating app is different from the registration for a linguist, an app where you learn how to sing song. Is that not? Because in this dating app, just like Oluwa Sheye put in the chat, I know he mentioned age. In this dating app, there's age restriction. So we need to take that into consideration. It is not every application that you try to register that they ask for age restriction. This one, we really need to put the gates. There's another dating app. I think it's called Raya. Is it Raya? That one is not even about age, it's about status. If you were not introduced to the app, they will not accept you. So for them, that is a requirement for registration. So you see that it's not enough to say registration. You need to now know what this business actually wants for their own registration. Another app may say, we need you to upload your birth certificate or an affidavit. If you do not upload it, we don't admit you. That is their requirement. And you need to capture what they want. If you have a problem with it, then you can challenge the requirement and tell them why you are challenging it. Why it's not going to be a good user experience. You can do that. At the end of the day, you're trying to make sure that they do something that makes sense and their customer wants. So, in the line of helping you understand this, in the requirement analysis phase, let's take registration, for example. Okay? You will then begin to go into the details that user can register using socials or using email/phone number and password, right? Okay. Social registration is restricted to Google and Facebook. These are the only two social that we're going to use because there are many socials. So now you see you're going into the details and you say, user must provide the following information for registration. Okay, first name, last name. No, forget my shorthand. Date of birth. Okay, why date of birth? Because you want to be sure that they are 18 years old. You see, so you can keep. Gender. This data, there's so many genders. So gender. Maybe preference or something like that. Okay, maybe you are there for a man or there for a woman or something like that. Okay, terms and condition. Okay, select terms or agree to terms and conditions. Okay, and then password. Okay, all right. If user is signing up via social, password not required. Okay, and then you can go on and go into the details. Then you go into like matching. How do they want this matching to work? And then you start giving the detail for each of these things that you want. So you've understood the scope of the solution. Now, number two is you going into the analysis, into the work itself. Deep dive. You're doing a deep dive, right? So requirement analysis, this is a deep dive, okay, into the high-level requirements. Okay? So you now go to number three, which is design. That's number three. That's the number three step in the SDLC. Okay? It's called design. Okay? Because with what you now have, we can now begin to design the system. Now, some of you think, okay, oh, no. Oh, somebody's saying, oh, login, why is it not? I just decided to, yes, you can say login, so don't get lost there. You can say login, then you continue and do matching. It's just that I cannot start doing everything now, okay? I can't do everything on the call, okay? Somebody just asked, why didn't I say login instead of matching? Yeah, I get you. All right, sorry about that. But, I was just trying to explain stuff. Now, the third one is design, okay? The third one is design. Now you have the details. You know exactly beyond the scope, you now know the detail, all right? The devil is not in the detail in this one, okay? Clarity is in the detail, all right, in this one. So you now have clarity as to where we are headed, where we are going to. Now, let me give you a classic example of this, a classic example on one of the projects, Trello. So this is one of the projects where they put a detailed requirement, all right, and they passed it on to design, right? Now, forget about how this is written, right? You will learn about that user story acceptance. Don't worry about that, okay? So don't worry about this user story AC. Don't worry about that. Just know that the requirement was put together, the detail, okay? The first thing that they did was the About Us page, okay? Which I showed you, okay? I showed you that. Give me a minute, let me see. If you look at this properly, you see that About Us page was one of the things that they put here. Can you see that? About Us page. So that About Us page was the scope, but now they have to go into the deeper, deep dive. So when they would go into the deep dive of the About Us page, they had to come up with this, and then they bounce it off me as the sponsor, and then I had to confirm it and say, okay, this is good to go. Send it to Helen. Helen is our designer, all right? Helen is the designer. So I said, that's good to go. Send it to Helen. So the students sent it on to Helen, and then Helen now takes that and turns it into this. So give me a minute, I'm going to show you. So Helen takes that requirement, that detailed requirement. I think I was over ambitious thinking that I'll be able to do everything in 3 hours. Don't you think so? I was over ambitious. I hope I'm able to cover everything that I want to cover today. God help me. God help me. All right, so this is the same requirement that I showed you. All right, so look at this. I know it's loading. All right, look at this carefully. So this is the requirement that was passed on to Helen. Users should be able to view, okay, the TSG's brand story. About Us page should showcase TSG's mission, vision, and purpose. About Us page should show TSG value, achievement, blah, 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 blah. About Us page should show the pictures, the photos, and the profile of the TSG team, and blah, blah, blah. Do you see that? Now, let's see. When this got to Helen, Helen is going to change this into a low fidelity or high fidelity design. That is one part of design. That is not everything that happens in design, but that is one of the things that happen during design. So you will be supporting. Now, you see, you're not the one doing the design, but you're the one enabling the design. You're the one enabling and giving the information that will be implemented on the design. That is why I told you yesterday that you're not the implementer, you are the enabler for the implementer. You get the point now? So you now take this, and when this gets to Helen, because Helen is the creative mind, that is her job. She's a designer, that's her job. Okay? All right, so this is Helen. Okay, that's her job. She's the creative mind. And she did 2 versions of this. I won't, there's no point showing you the second version, but let me just show you that she changed this, the TSG brand story. Look at this. What do you see here? Our story. And then she did it in such a way that when we go to 21, 22, like I did yesterday, when I was showing you 2020, 2022, she did it that way. Now, we move on to the next part. How did she get all these things? From the thing you told her, from the detail you gave her. That's simple, right? Okay, About Us page should show the mission, vision, and purpose. She comes here and she says, the mission, vision, and purpose. Designed it. Okay. Should have the achievements. You come here. Achievements. Should have the photos and the profile of the TSG team. And then you come here. I know that's not me yet, huh? But you, the photos and the profile of the TSG team. So now you see that the detail has now turned into a low fidelity or a high fidelity design. That's number 1. I know you didn't see a low fidelity design, so let me show you another project. Let me show you another project that you see let me show you another project so that I'll show you what a low fidelity design is. I can't believe that this time is running like this. Oh my God. The time is crazy swift, man. Boy. Okay, so let me show you. So this is low fidelity. It's called wireframe. Okay, this is low fidelity. So from here, when I approve this, they will show me the skeleton and what this is about. When I approve this, this can now go into high fidelity. this can now go into high fidelity. So can you see that what is here was actually what was here in a skeletal form? Okay. It just avoids us from doing the work twice and all of that. So we teach wireframes in the boot camp, all right? We teach wireframes in the boot camp. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So this is just one of the types of design in the design phase. There's another thing called process modeling. Because once you understand the detail of a process, here, if you understand the detail of a process, if you understand the detail of, of how an organization does stuff, you can put a process flow together. It's a design. It's like what an architect would do. Oh, Remy will know that. Architect Remy, he asked a very good question yesterday. All right, that's why I remember him and I see his, he will know that. Architect Remy will know that when you do a blueprint, that blueprint is as good as your house, because that is what they will use in building the main thing. So the process modeling is the same thing. Okay, it's a picture of the step-by-step that goes on in a process, something like this. And all these things are part of the things that you'll be taught to do, you see? So beyond the natural things you bring to the job, these other things are some of the things you'll be taught to do. So let me show you. Process flow, yeah. Let me show you that. I'm just trying to show you a bit of these things. That the design, when we say design is not only, when I say design, it's not only, high fidelity and low fidelity stuff, right? So we can see something like this. Oh, when the order is received, this is what we should do. Check the feasibility. And then if the feasibility is okay, then you can check if the part is available. If the part is not available, then order from supplier. If it's available, order from the warehouse. And then let us do a drone assembly. Oh, this drone assembly is a sub-process. Don't worry, you may not know what this is now. Okay. And then from there, all these things you'll be taught. So don't think it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. All right. Okay. And then you can see this is you. It's part of the design of the process. Now, when they give you an improvement and tell you what the improvement should be, let me show you an example of that. There's just so many examples to show you. Sometimes I feel like I'm giving too much to your brain. But, again, it's not my fault. It's just 2 days, right? So there's a lot I want to pack into that. And hopefully I can do everything I need to do today. So let me just quickly show you something here. So imagine that this is the current way they do things. And now you have like an improvement. Remember I told you you're going to look at how they do things currently, how they do things how they want things in the future, what the gap is, and the actions you should take. And then you now look at the recommendations for improvement, right? What they should do to improve. Now, by the time they put this improvement, this thing now, this one that has 1, 2, 3 things will now become more effective and efficient. It now becomes this. So that could be the process, right, of designing. So you are now saying, okay, this process will be like this, and then like this, and then like this, and this will happen, and that will happen, and this will happen, and then that will be the end. You can do that way. So that is another thing that happens in design. Now, process modeling. Another thing that can happen in the design is database modeling. Now, this is not you doing it. They can model the database. Okay, the database. What do I mean by that? Now, you've given us the detail of what you are collecting, that you're collecting first name, you're collecting last name, you're collecting gender, you're collecting date of birth, you're collecting this and that, right? Now, the developer will now know, when this thing is ready, this is the data I'll be collecting. So he will go and design the database based on this information that you've given him. Is that making sense? So design is number 3rd stage. Honestly, I think this time, I'm just looking at it, honestly, I'm going to run fast very soon. So design, okay, because I need to actually leave this call before 7. I have to. I have to leave the call by 7. So I can't stay beyond 7. All right, because Coach Olu has to do something with the link. So I have to leave this call before 7. Okay, so sorry about that. All right, so design. The next stage is implementation. or coding. Some people call it coding, or some people call it the build stage. Okay, the coding stage or the build stage, implementation stage. So now, look at it. You understand the scope of the solution. You are now breaking it down. From the breaking it down, it's now being designed. Now that it has been designed, it's now time for us to build it. It's now time for us to what? Build it. Now, at this point, you ask, what is my job, Michael? What's my job as a BA? Am I the one building it? No, I said that several times. You're not the one building it. You're the one supporting them to build it. So how would you support them? You will give them requirements to help them know exactly how they should build it and what they should be putting there, what they should build. You see that? Let me give you an example. So I'll give you an example of this one here. So this is us building one of our projects, all right? So you come in here and maybe let's take one of these, for example, okay? So you put in the details for them to build. You can see the design. So you give in the details, tell them what they are doing here and all of that, and then monitor. And as time goes on, they will be building this, okay? The developers will now pick it up. Now, this is a tool called Jira. We also have a free class like every 6 weeks to teach Jira and Confluence. So, and you see, when you put all these things together, you can actually, for those of you who say you don't have money, please take advantage of these things we're doing. They will help you. I wish I had this when I was trying to transition, you know. Yeah. So maybe join or follow us on Instagram, right? If you're not following us, you will know when we're having these sessions, right? And for those of you who can afford it, of course, I'm giving you a discount already. Like for those of you who attended yesterday, for those of you today, I'm still giving, and in fact, I'm going to extend the discount. A few of you called me and said you needed the extension for the discount. I've heard you, and I'm going to extend it till Tuesday, okay? Was it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, because some of you said you get paid by 15th or something. Okay, I'm going to extend it to Tuesday, okay? So don't worry. I'm going to extend it till Tuesday. And I have another thing that I want to say based on the conversation I had with the project management instructors. So don't worry about that. Okay, but let's focus on this now. So it's time to build it. So all those things that you've put as requirements, it's now time to build them. And you are going to be helping them with something like this, making sure that they know what to build. You put in the work there, you know, all these things we're going to explain later, all right? Just understand that you're going to support the process. And at the end of the day, you see this thing that was just a design. You see this thing that was just a design will now become a reality. When you go to About Us, you will now see that this thing has been built. So this is the building. They now build it. You can see, you can now interact with it. This is now reality. Okay? This is now reality. You see, everything now that has been built is now reality. Okay? You see that? It's now reality. Everything that has been built. Oh, finally, my face is there. Oh, thank God. All right. You see, it's now reality. You're building it with all the requirements that have been put together. You're now building this thing. All right? You get the point? So you're going to support them in that process of helping them to understand exactly what they need to build together with the design. So let's move on quickly. Still a lot of things to do. The next stage will be, so that's number 4. Number 5 is what we call testing and integration. Testing and integration. Testing and integration. So you see that time I was telling you, and this particular project cost 250K and all of that. See, all the things that I did it's inside this SDLC. The requirement, the gathering. But you see, in all of these, there is a technique to use, right? There's a technique to use. There is an artifact to produce. And that is what we teach you basically in the full bootcamp. Like, you see, now I'm not teaching you wireframe. I'm not teaching you elicitation techniques. I'm not teaching you. There's a lot I'm not teaching you. But again, like I said, the purpose of these 2 days is just to give you some enlightenment and help you see what is on the other side of the fence, which normally sometimes you would have paid money to see. And because some of you can't see, you are skeptic, you're like, it's not for me. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's what this particular, these sessions are for. So let's talk about testing and integration quickly. This time, I don't like looking at you. It's running so fast. Oh God. Testing and integration. I hope you're getting it. If you're getting it, for those of you who are already BAs, this is easy peasy for you, right? It's easy peasy. But for those of you who were novice as at yesterday, this is information. This is new information, and I want to believe it's making sense. Let me take a let me see the spectrum, what is happening in the room. If this is making sense to you, can you put yes in the chat? Let me know what the audience is like. If this is making sense, you kind of understand what's happening, you're not lost. This makes sense to you, right? You put yes in the chat, let me know that we are saying we are doing the right thing here. Okay, so it means that we are making some progress here. Okay, now we go to the next stage. It's called testing and integration. Testing and integration. Okay, let's take a pause here. Let me now focus on all of you that have fashion designer. All of you that have fashion designer and tailor. You are the next person I'm coming to now. How many of you, when you go to your tailor, and you know that there's one, wedding that is coming up next week or in the next 2 weeks, and they have this thing called Ashwebi, it's kind of like the generic material that people will use for their designs for the party, right? And then you take that material to your fashion designer, and then you tell your fashion designer, I want this, I want that. I want this, I want that. For those of you that want to make heads turn, you want heads to turn when you enter the place. You like an entrance. You understand? You now tell your tailor, give me shaba. You know what they call shaba? That split. You give them that split. The split, I don't want to tell you where that split will reach. It's you that know. And you know what you are looking for. So you tell the tailor, please put that split, let it reach there. Okay? You are giving requirement. You are saying, tailor, you see, I want you to put enough padding in certain areas so that when this cloth, when I enter the cloth, head will turn. So you are giving requirements. Now it is the day to come and meet the tailor. How many of you will just take your clothes and then you will now start waiting for the wedding ceremony? And that is the day that you will launch it. How many of you do that? That's the day you will launch that cloth or that agbada. It's the first time you are wearing it. Yeah? How many of you? That's the first time you are wearing it. Does that happen? You must really trust that tailor. You must really trust. Like your trust is on hyper. Like you must be 100. You must tell me who that tailor is. Like you really trust that tailor to give you everything. No. What you would do is to go and do what is called fitting. You test it to see whether that shaba, that split actually got to the place. You understand? If it is not there, it's Baba, come on, split this thing here. Yeah, I'm going to be dancing kukere in the thing. So, you tell him to adjust. If the thing is not showing all your curves, like a Coca-Cola bottle, you say, this is why he's showing agbada for me. I went to gym for this. Oh yeah, make sure you understand. So what you're doing is you are testing it out to make sure that the requirement you gave was actually what the tailor did. Does that make sense? Now, it's the same thing here. When you've given requirements and you've asked them to do a certain thing, you can't just go and give it to your users and let them use it like that. You have to now test it. You now have to test what they are giving you. But this is where it's a bit different with what I'm going to show you now. This is where it's a bit different. And this is where the other parts of integration comes in. Please, so listen attentively here. in software, we don't just build. We build in components. Okay? We build in components. Let me explain that. So you see like this website, this is a component. This here, up here, is a component. This particular drop down is a component. Maybe this button is a component. This secondary thing here is a component. This card is a component. When you go to here, this other card here is a component. This is a component. So these components are built as separate components and tested individually. Now, that individual testing of those components is what we call unit testing. You test it as an individual component. It's called unit testing. But these components are not going to be alone, right? You don't use them alone. You use them as an integrated, you see? You use them as an integrated part, like it's integrated. So one component upon another component. Now let me give you an idea because of the next thing I want to say, which I use a lot. So you see a guy, independent guy, an independent woman. They came together, fell in love, and they said they wanted to marry themselves. Now, these two individual, independent people that are making progress independently come together in this institution called a marriage, where they will now be integrated into one. Listen. The expectation is that because these two individual units that have come together to become one, the expectation is that they will make progress together as that one unit, and they will even make more progress, right? Well, how many of you have seen marriages lately? Is that the truth? Eh? So sometimes they don't make progress. They regress. Please listen to that word, because there's a reason why I said that. So sometimes when they come together, they were doing fine as a unit. So when you did the unit testing, everything was fine. Unit testing, hey, good. Now you integrated them, and you were expecting that they will make progress, right? But instead of making progress, they regress. And then these two people eventually divorce themselves. It's just that now in IT, in software, they don't divorce. There's no divorce, okay? All right. So you get the point. So they regress. Now, it's the same thing. When you bring one component and another component that you've tested, you are going to integrate it. When you integrate it, there's a tendency that what was working before, Otidaru, you don't go spoiler. You press spoil button. So when you brought them together, it's no longer working again when you integrated it. So we need to do what is called regression testing. I'm giving you some keywords. Regression testing is you testing to see that that thing you tested before is still working even when you've added a new thing. Because the way we build software is that we are adding one thing to the next thing. So when you add a new thing, it may dabaru or spoil the things that you've already added. So you need to check again those things to make sure that they didn't regress. It's called regression testing, sir. One other one I want to tell you about before I jump away. There's so many testing, all right? But these are the key ones you need to know. Is the UAT, user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing is like the one you do with your tailor. When your tailor say, "Oti ready, oh, mama ema ball." So Oti ready, becoming, oh yeah, come and test it. That's what I'm saying there, okay? It is ready, come and test it. So that's what you do with the tailor, the user acceptance testing. From the word user acceptance testing, it means that the user, the person that is going to use it, or the person that gave you the work, tested it end to end, and then decided that, this is good, I have accepted it. Did you get it? Tested it end to end, and then This one is done towards the end of the project. Okay, you do not do this one at the beginning of the project, the UAT. The UAT is done towards the end when everything is coming together. Like, for example, you can see this, our website now is coming together. Everything is almost, we are at the point where we are doing UAT. Like our Afro shop that is going to collision, okay? We are at the point of doing what? UAT, because it's almost there. Everything is there. The payments, is there. We can make payment now. We can do all of these things, right? So we are at the point where we are doing UAT for all of these things. Are you getting me? All right. Okay. So UAT is user acceptance testing, where the people that gave you the work now will now start testing it end to end to be sure that there's no bug. Because you say something is a bug when you test it and it's not working the way you expected it to work. You create what is called a bug. Okay, let me see if I can show you an example. Okay, you see this thing here, it's called a bug. Can you see that? Okay, if you see this, these ones are called stories. Don't worry, this thing is called a bug, meaning that you can see it's under QA. All right, so this QA guy is saying that I tested this thing and it's not working. So maybe tomorrow on Monday, when they meet, when these people meet for their meeting, they have a meeting they do every day. It's called daily stand-up. All right, they will now take this and send it back to the developer. Let's see the developer that did this. I don't have an idea who did this, so history. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so David was the developer that did this. Okay, so Kunal, who is our Scrum Master, okay, Kunal is our Scrum Master. He will now take this and send it back to David and say, David, wait, there is a problem with this. Okay, there is a problem with this. And you can see the environment. So give me a minute, let me go to the comments. You see, there's a problem with this. And you see, this person has put in the comment 3 days ago. There is no way to test the picture. Uploading functionality as clicking the avatar leads to blah, 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 blah. You see that? So he sends it back for them to go and give him what to use in testing. So it's blocked. So he cannot test it. Move it back. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that is when you say there's a bug. All right? There's a bug, meaning you tested it and it's not working properly. Just like when you checked your clothes and it's not, there's something, it's not go-akpa, so let's send it back. All right? There's a bug. All right. So that is testing and integration, sir. So this cycle is going to continue until everything is wakbas. What do I mean by everything is wakbas? Everything is okay. Okay? My English is not that great. So manage this small one I'm giving you. Okay? But please don't speak this English outside. Don't go and say everything is wakbas. You will not pass that interview, I can bet you. They will not give you. All right? It's just my way of trying to communicate to you. All right? Everything is okay. Not everything is wakbas. All right? Okay, so you would repeat the process until everything is okay. All right? So once everything is okay, good to go, send it to Dawn. Great. Okay? Now, the next step, number 6, is everything is okay now. You can tell me what's the next step? Deploy. Let's go and start the area. Because now your dress is okay. This dress, the tailor has finished work. It's now time to go and show everybody that hey, the new girl is in town. The new bobo is in town. You see? You put your feeler like this. You show them. So you go and deploy on the day of the wedding. Because now you've tested the thing. It's making sense. Blah, blah, blah. It's time to deploy. So it's the same thing. Everything is all good now. It's time to deploy. So this is now when you start putting everything in place, the URL, the uniform resource locator, that is your website URL and all of that. You're putting everything together, making sure everything is in place. The backdoors are, secured on the cybersecurity level. They check everything. All right. And then boom, maybe when you are sleeping, because we like to, deploy at midnight. The reason is because less people are using the website then. Okay, we like to, and that's why when you wake up at night, when you wake up in the morning, you see update. update 2.1, update 2.2. It's because while you were sleeping, we deployed it. Because it's easier to deploy when less people are on the site, right? So you deploy. So the next thing is deploy. That's the next step. All right. Okay. And then the next step is maintenance. Most people don't stay till maintenance. It depends. Like if you're a consultant, maintenance is you move. Okay. So most people do not stay till maintenance. Give me a minute. Okay. I was hearing something strange. Okay. So most people do not stay till maintenance on the project. Do you get me? Okay. So this is the SDLC, sir. What I just showed you now. Number 1, planning. Number 2, analysis. Number 3, design. Number 4, implementation. Number 5, testing and integration. Number 6, deployment. Number 7, maintenance. And this is how you execute a software project. Now, that said, I want to quickly breeze through 2 points now. The next thing. I hope that is clear. Okay? If that is clear, please put yes in the chat. I want to quickly jump into something right now. Okay? I want to quickly jump into something right now. So, you see the SDLC we just talked about. There are 2 approaches to that SDLC that you're seeing. There are 2 approaches. One is called Waterfall. The other one is called Agile. Okay. Remember that the whole of the project is initiation, planning, executing, and then you close the project, right? Now, and I've shown you that for a software, the execution is actually the SDLC. Now, somebody may be saying, but Michael, why is the planning here and not here? Remember, I told you that the planning is the same as the planning for the project. So that may already have been done. You see? So there are 2 variations of the SDLC, all right, when you go out there. And I can talk more about this in the bootcamp, all right? But for now, let's just focus on what is here. So you can decide to do it in an agile manner or in a waterfall manner. So the SDLC, okay? So your question to me will be, Michael, what is the difference? What is the difference between waterfall and agile? Is that not? Good question. So let's go in there because that is what is now going to lead me to Scrum. And that is what is going to lead me to Scrum Master and Product Owner. Okay? And then I'm going to tell you about those 2 roles. And I think I would have done some great job tonight to help you see a few things that which probably you couldn't have seen from behind the fence. Okay, so let's move on. Now, I have a full, I have like 50, 25 slides on this. But again, remember, I can't do that in this class. It's a limited time. So let me jump into my fast track notes, and then I would help you see. So you can see the 2 variations of the SDLC. One has the planning and one does not. You see? Okay, I will talk about that later on the bootcamp. All right. So let's look at the 2 approaches. I don't like this one. Give me a minute. Let me use another one. Let me use another slide. Just give me a minute, please. Let me use another slide. Where is mine? Just give me a minute, guys. Okay. Give me a minute, guys. I'm going to skip a lot of things. I just want to take you to here and then show you quickly the 2 approaches. All right. So there are 2 approaches to the 2 ways to how you approach that SDLC, right? Okay. The 2 ways to how you approach the SDLC. Now, there's one way called the waterfall, and then there's another one called the Agile. Okay, and they have their own pros and cons, but today's class is not for that. Okay, because I'm heading somewhere quickly with this in the next 25 minutes. So there's the waterfall approach and there's the Agile approach. What's the difference between these two? Now, remember that the manufacturing age started before the digital age. Okay, so the industrial age started before the digital age. So some of the influences that we see in the digital age was actually the earlier influences. Let me put it that way. Some of the early influences came from the manufacturing age. Now, some of you are like, which kind of grammar is this guy talking? Just talk this thing. Let me, hold on. I'm trying to explain something to you. Now, what I mean by that is, for those of you that have worked in factory, you are factory workers. You've worked in factory before. Let me show you something. For those of you who have worked in factory before, you will see something like this. Something like this. You know, when you want to build something in a factory line, the output from one line becomes the input into the next line. And then they will continue the process. And then that line, the output, will become the input into that line until the product is created. You see? So it will go from one line, and then that will come out, go to the next line. Maybe the next line is to cover it, and then maybe the next line is to put the wrapper, and then the next line is to, cork the thing, and then the next line is to package it. You see? So they had that kind of mentality, okay, of sequential linear approach. We will do this thing first, finish it, and then we'll go to the next one. Finish it, go to the next one. So that mentality was there. So when we moved into the digital age and software age, they carried that mentality into the software age. And that is where waterfall became the thing. They call it a traditional method, the traditional method to project execution. So what that means is that, okay, just like this waterfall, you know that water does not fall until it fills. So water fills and fall, fills and fall, fills and fall, you know? Okay, so that's why they call it waterfall. So for you to understand this, let me go back here. So what this means is that if we want to build a project, what this waterfall is saying is that if we want to build a project, we have to finish the planning. By the time we are done with that, we have to finish the requirement for each of the items here. Registration, let's finish the details. Login, finish it first. Matching, finish everything. Chat, finish everything. Profile, finish everything. Preference, finish everything. Notification, finish everything. Search, finish everything. Location, finish. We have to finish all that first. Approve everything. We've moved away from that step. Before we go into, so we have to finish all the analysis of all these things, all the analysis, before we start any design. So meaning that we have to finish collecting all the requirements before we start any design. And then we have to finish all the design. So design registration, design login, design this, design that. We have to finish all the design before we go into implementation. And then we have to finish implementation before we can even start testing. So you can see how it is sequential and linear and does not give us opportunity for flexibility. There's no flexibility. And then when you finish testing and integration, that's when you now go into deployment. By that time, you can imagine when you are getting to see a part of the product. Time has gone. You see? Now, that is not to say that waterfall is not good. No, waterfall is good for some type of project. For example, construction, marketing. Waterfall is good. You need to be sure of everything, collect all the requirements and everything. Okay? All right? Before moving on. All right? So waterfall is okay. All right? So let me go back to my slide where I kind of showed that. Okay? So I'm going to go back to my slide quickly, and then I'll use that as a segue to go into Agile and go into MVP. So waterfall is a sequential and linear approach to project delivery. So meaning you have to finish the requirements, and until you finish all the requirement analysis before you go to design, finish all the design before you go to development, finish all the development before you go into testing, finish all the testing before you go into deployment. And then you deploy a big outcome, which may not even suit the requirements at the end of the day. You see? So you give a big outcome at the end. That is waterfall. But in the Agile methodology, it's a bit different. A group of 19 developers were tired of people complaining of their product. Every time they build a product using what people are complaining. So a group of 19 developers in Oregon came together, I think in 2001, and then they came up with what is called the Agile Manifesto. You don't need all those details. This is what they simply said. Let us do this thing iteratively so that we can quickly push something to our customers, you know, that they can test. So Agile is about, you know, publishing value on time to the customer, sending value on time to the customer. So what Agile now said we should do is that while we have done some requirements, we don't need to do everything, send it to design. So design is doing what has been designed will be developed. What has been developed will be tested. What has been tested, if it is good to be deployed by itself, we'll deploy it. Look at that again. He said, when we do the requirement, whatever has been detailed, we can design. Whatever has been designed, we can develop. Whatever we can develop, we have developed, can be tested. So they go through an iteration. This iteration is a duration of time. It could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks. So in that 1 week or 2 weeks, these people will be designing, will be collecting requirements simultaneously, will be doing development work, design work, and everything within that, and then they would push out what they were able to do in that first week. It has been tested. At least the consumer can see something early. Instead of waiting for 4 months before you can see the first build, now you can see something. At least you can see registration, you can see this, you can see that, right? You can see these little things and start testing them. That is Agile for you. So in that 1 week, you do an iteration, you get an increment. You go again. You do another iteration, and you add on top of what you had before. Remember, at this point, you are getting feedback. You're getting feedback, and you're putting it back into the iteration, and you're doing more, and as you are iterating, you now finally get your big bang product. Are you getting the point? So Agile, we say it's an iterative in the sense that you are, you know, doing the same thing over and over again. So I am doing the requirement. Once the requirement is, you know, within that one, say for example, okay, let me give you an example. So while I have collected the requirements for all these ones, okay, so let's say this one, the requirement has been done, requirement has been done. By the time I am in a particular iteration, I'm doing this requirement. This person is, the design is ongoing for one of these. And then whatever design has been concluded, the implementer is already developing. Whatever has been developed, the person is already testing. We'll just be pushing things out one after the other. And that is what you see here. You see, you can see here, 2 days remaining on my iteration here. Because our sprint here in the Skill Garage, our iteration is 1 week. So in 1 week, we are going to take a set of work. Bam, 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 bam. We take a set of work and we'll work on it. And then we'll produce something. We'll test it. We'll do all those things in that 1 week. Now, okay, I won't go into the details of this, okay, sprint and all of that. I don't want to go into those details. So you can see that 2 days is remaining for us because by Tuesday, we do what is called a demo. So we are going to look at what they have produced and then give feedback. So they will demo it and then I'll give feedback. And then they will go again and then pick some new things and start working again. So that is agile. That is agile. You see, you are doing it in bits and in bobs. Okay. All right. So you have agile and you have waterfall. Okay. And they both have their pros and cons. While waterfall is a sequential linear approach to project delivery, agile is an iterative and incremental. Iterative, can see, iterative and incremental increments approach to project delivery. Are you getting that now? Aha. Now, because of agile, you can now have what is called the MVP. This thing called the MVP. Because of agile, you can have what is called what? MVP. So let me explain that to you quickly. MVP is what we call minimum viable product. Remember that agile is not waiting to do everything until they launch. Agile is not like waterfall. Agile is going to be doing things in bits and in bobs, and when it sees that it is enough to be put out there, it will put it out there. So that births the concept of the MVP. What is the MVP? It is the minimum version. It is the basic version of your product that your early adopters can use and give you feedback. I think you didn't hear that. So the minimum viable product, because you are iterating and constantly iterating on your idea, agile gives you an opportunity to build the basic version of your product that your ideal customer can actually use and give you feedback. And then you can use that to build on top of this. It's just like me waiting to have everything 3 years ago before I started the Skill Garage. I had one student. One student. That's what I had. One student. After doing Polowo, after I Polowo for 5 months, I finally got one student. Do you know what it means to Polowo? Advertise. After I advertised for 5 months, I finally got one student that believed in me. How much did he pay? He paid one. You know, I just wanted to test my ideas because I've tested it on my friends. Yeah, those are my friends. They got jobs. But I wanted to test it on somebody that would pay me money. So I didn't wait for me to have a CRM. Today we have a CRM, we have a website, we have this, we have that. I have a communications person, I have 10 developers, I have a designer. I didn't have any of that. I just needed a minimum version of this thing that I think can work. And from that one person now, we've built and built and built, and today, I can tell you that we have, if I click on this, from that one person, we've gotten to 202 5-star Google reviews from one person. So you are waiting for that, your idea, you're waiting for the sun, the moon, and the star, and the eclipse, and everything to align, you see, before your idea can become a reality. Continue. Continue. That's what I'm telling you. Just continue. Continue to wait. All you need is the basic version of that thing. Like, for example, this our product that is going to Collision. It is the basic version that we are building. I don't know if I can do, I don't know if you see my incognito. Okay, give me a minute. Let me share my screen again. Okay. This is the MVP. Why? Because when we launch this product, it's not going to be everywhere. It's just going to be in Toronto. You can see, Greater Toronto area. It's the basic version for the basic people, maybe 1 or 2 stores. Tell us where you are. If you are not within, then we would use it to get information of the people where they are. So if you're in Calgary and you're going to use our product to order African items, you will tell us that you're in Calgary, and then we'll know that, people in Calgary are looking for us. Let us go there. It is the basic version. And then you give us your email, and because you gave us your email, we now know that we can send you a message now when we get to Calgary. And we don't need 35 stores to start. We just need 2 stores. Udofia store and Kunal store or Adidex store to start. We don't need 10 stores or 59 stores to start. No, just 2 is okay. Then by the time we do that, we now understand test things as long as the basic things you need, like making payment, making a shop. Let me see if there's anything that has an item. Okay, you pay for this, you come in here, you go in here, you can go into here, you can put in, you can put in your name. Okay, you can put in your last name, you can put in your email. Okay, you can put in, that, your phone number, you can say delivery, you can choose the time for the delivery, you can decide, okay, put a tip, you can decide to make payment, okay, your country, Canada, you can decide to make payment, and then it takes you to the payment, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to put my payment details, okay, put Michael there, okay, put Michael there, I put my, 4242424242, I put that in here, 0124. Okay, that is telling me that it is passed. 0524. Okay, I put that here, 111, and then I pay. And then boom, I know that this is working. I know it's working. Okay, all right, okay. Don't worry, this part I'm going to edit it because of personal information. So don't worry about that. I'm going to edit personal information just to show you that this is working. It's the basic version of my product, the basic version. So that is what we call MVP, guys. That is what we call the MVP. Does that make sense? That's what we call the MVP. So I said I'm going to tell you about MVP. Now, the next thing I want to tell you is, okay, let me quickly mention this. I know some of you do a lot of reading online. Be careful what you see online, because somebody is going to tell you that this is how to build an MVP. It's a lie. This is not how to build an MVP. This is not how to build an MVP. This is how to build an MVP. Or this is how to build, this is how an MVP works. Because an MVP is the minimum version, is the basic version of your product. Tell me how a scooter is the basic version of a car. But you see these things online, right? This is what they will show you online. How is a scooter the basic version of a car? It's a lie. A scooter is another product. Bicycle is another product. A bike is another product. How is a tire? Can you use a tire? If I gave you this now and I said, I'm building you a car, but please, can you just use this in the meantime? If I was to build you a car and I said, can you use this for the meantime? You'd be like, are you okay? Are you in your senses? Like, you have to build me a car, and giving me tire as the first version of that product. Are you okay? But if you gave me this, hey, this is a car. Do you understand? This is a car. It's just that it does not have all the luxury of what I'm looking for in the final state. Are you getting me? It's a car. It's the basic version of the car. And then over time, I can collect feedback. Somebody says he needs it to be able to, he wants to be able to put his things in the car because he and his wife, by the time he and his wife are seated here, there's nowhere to put things. Okay, we now develop this. And then rain starts falling. When rain is falling, Baba, this thing is, and then he puts a cover. And then, this thing is not luxurious enough. Look at, I'm winding down this thing. There's no AC, nothing in there. Okay, we now give him AC. Now he can wind up. You see? The same way we were collecting feedback. We didn't used to give people recording. And then I had to go and pay for a platform where I can record and put my recordings there so that my students can always watch the recording. And then they gave another feedback. Let us be doing project now. Let us be doing project. Okay, I got my first developer, the second developer, I got this one. We started doing project. And then another one came. We are not doing this. We're not doing that. And then as I was getting feedback, we were getting better. We're getting better. You see? So MVP is the minimum version of your product. Now, let me quickly skip to a couple things because of time. Now, Agile is an approach. Agile is the approach, but we have different frameworks through which we implement Agile. There's a lot of frameworks, from Scrum to Kanban to FDD, TDD, CI/CD that you use in DevOps and all of that. But there are only 2 frameworks. Now, I would love to show you what a framework is, because some of you don't know the difference between a framework and a method, isn't it? You don't know the difference between a framework and a method. Now, what I'm showing you now is a framework. Scrum is a framework. Kanban is a framework. And there are only 2 frameworks you need to be aware of. The rest, don't worry about it. These 2 are the most important and the most widely used in the industry. They're the most widely used in the industry, Scrum and Kanban. They are frameworks. Okay, now because of our time, I will not go into Kanban. Okay, I will deal with that in the bootcamp. But how many of you've been hearing Scrum, Agile, Scrum Master? That is what I'm telling you now. That's where I'm taking you to now. That's Scrum that you've been hearing, and you'll be like, well, you can Scrum, I don't want no Scrum. This is the Scrum. This is the Scrum that they are talking about. It's a framework within Agile. What do I mean by that? So think of Agile as a method or an approach to project, right? Because you as the guy enabling change, you will do it in a project. And Agile is one of the ways that you will run the project, right? But there is different methods of doing Agile, of implementing Agile. And Scrum is one of those framework. Now, let me quickly, in few minutes, help you understand framework. Hold on, there's a lot to teach. But I will do my best. I'll do my best. Honestly, I'll do my best. Framework. Let me help you understand framework, because if you don't understand framework, it may be a bit difficult for you to really understand and grasp what I want to tell you now. Okay, so let me show you 1 or 2 things about framework. Okay, all right, let me show you 1 or 2 things about framework. Now, I want to help you understand what framework is. Framework. How many of you have seen something like this before? You have it in your house. It may not be wooden like this, but you know what it is, right? How many of you put yes in the chat? Let me be sure that there are still people on the call. How many of you have seen something like this? Good. Just 3 people, Hey. It's like I'm not more modern. You have like something like, hey, talk now. Let me know that people are on the call. We. I like Charles. Charles is using French. He said we, ce n'est pas, don't let me speak the French. I don't know. Okay, so yes, right? You have this frame in your house, right? Now look at something I want to show you quickly. Barry. This is how Barry likes to use the frame. When Barry has pictures, this is how Barry likes to use the frame. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's how Barry likes it. It works for Barry. Barry. This is how Kendra likes to use the frame. There's nothing wrong with that. It's how Kendra likes it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how she likes to use the frame. This is how Ogogo likes to use the frame. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how Ogogo likes to use the frame. OG for life. All right? Good. Quickly, what did you notice? What did you notice? Quickly in the chat. I don't want to start unmuting you because I'm running against time now. In the chat, what did you notice? What did you notice? Quickly. Okay, maybe raising your hand is a quicker way because some of you are typing. Everything was within the frame. Okay, that is good. Everything was within the frame. The pictures all fit in the frame. Good. Everything, the picture remains good. Everything within the frame, right? Okay, different usage by different individual. Oh, this Davies, I'm suspecting you. You're not a newbie. I'm suspecting you very much. Okay, But everyone has different idea. Thank you, Toru. So you would notice that each person use the frame in the way that it suits them. Good. So you see those frameworks I'm showing you. Those frameworks are not sacrosanct. They have certain things that has been spelled out as the boundary. But if you go to one organization and another organization, they can decide to do it differently. So if you go to organization A and they are doing Scrum, they will not, it's not as if they are doing Scrum totally different, but within the boundary of Scrum, there are a few tweaks that they have done to adapt to their own agility. That is why we call it frameworks. How many of you, when you were doing maths, they taught you mathematical methods? Mathematical method is different from framework. How many of you know that? You can't mess with a method. You can't mess with an approach. In mathematics, if we gave you a method and you decide to tweak it, you will not get the answer. You have to follow the method. That's the difference between a method, an approach, and a framework. If we gave you a method or an approach, you have to follow a method. That's why we call it mathematical methods. Okay? Like there's a method for finding the diagonal of a triangle. If you do not follow that method, you decide to do your own tweaking from the method, you will not get the answer. That method is Pythagoras. There's a method for solving quadratic equation. Yeah? And when you go beyond quadratic equation to what do they call the other ones? That is not quadratic equation. I've forgotten these things now. The one that is x raised to power 4. Okay? There is a method to that. All right? So if you don't use that method, you won't get the answer. But framework is not like that. Framework, you can tweak it. You see, you can tweak a framework to fit you. So we are saying that there are different frameworks in Agile. Scrum is one of those frameworks. Kanban is another of those frameworks. So now that you know this, let's go and talk about Scrum a little bit. And that's where we begin to wrap it up for the night. Because I want to introduce you to two concepts: Scrum Master and Product Owner. Now, there's a lot to say in Scrum, but I'm not going to dabble into it today. Okay? There's a lot to say in Scrum. I'll tell you that next week or in the bootcamp. Okay? There's a lot I can say. But when you start learning Scrum, okay? Besides, you can take an exam in Scrum. There's a CSM exam. It's called Certified Scrum Master. You can take the Certified Scrum Product Owner. It's a certification exam. And if you're looking to take that exam, just reach out to us. We can connect you at a lower fee or lower price. All right. Now, these are all the things you're going to learn in Scrum, but I don't have the time to take you through that tonight. Okay. Maybe there are some of our videos online. Check online. There are some of our videos I've explained this. Okay, like the fast track video. Go and check it. All right, it's online there. Okay, but let me quickly come here. In Scrum, Scrum stipulates 3 roles to help us push agility. 3 roles. So you can see that Scrum Master came as a result of Scrum. That role called Scrum Master came as a result of Scrum. So Scrum identifies 3 roles. And I'm putting a lot of things in here now. But again, remember, it's not meant to be exhaustive. It's just meant to be enough to take you to the next step. There are 3 roles. There's the Scrum Master, the Product Owner, and the Development Team. Now, Scrum identifies every other person as the Development Team. And then identifies these 2 distinct roles within the Scrum team that is responsible for creating the product. So you have a project, a product, there is a Scrum team that is responsible. Scrum is saying you should have 3 roles. you should have somebody called a Scrum Master. And that is why when you go online now, you see people applying for Scrum Master job. You should have somebody called a product owner. If you go online now, you see people applying for product owner roles. And then you should have the development team, which is every other person that has the skill set to get us what we want. So that could be a project manager, a product manager, business analyst, front-end developer, back-end developer. All these people are part of the development team. So in a few more minutes, I'm going to tell you quickly who is a Scrum Master. It may not be that exhaustive, okay, because we have to wrap up. And then I'll tell you who a product owner is. Now, we teach these two roles in the business analysis class, in the business analysis bootcamp. So meaning that when you take the business analysis bootcamp, I will show you the brochure. You do both Scrum and product ownership. So that when you go out there, you're not just looking for a BA job. Remember, the market is not smiling. So you can't just go and say you're just looking for any BA job. You look for a BA role, PO role, SM role, and even a product manager role. Yes, because once you are able to work on projects like the ones we are going to be giving you, you should be able to apply for some product manager roles. I told you about the guy who just got a job as operations something manager. It's because he saw the job description and it looked like something he has learned. It was like, I can do this. And then he applied for the job. The job pays him 90,000. Yeah, it's not called a BA, but he looked at everything and he said, this thing is a BA now. It's all the things that Michael has taught me. And he applied for it, went for the interview, passed it, and then they gave him the role. You can check the success story on our Instagram. All right? So the reason why we put all of these things in one course is because the market, that is what the market demands. The market is not looking for somebody that is just one narrow, narrow scholastic. It's looking for much more. All right, so let's talk briefly about the Scrum Master, and I'm going to just be fast about this. Now, because of our time, I'm not able to talk about Scrum that much, okay? But Scrum, like I said, is a framework through which Agile is, executed. And you have this role called the Scrum Master role that is responsible for facilitating the Scrum process and ensuring that the team is delivering value. What does that mean? So the Scrum Master is like the head boy, like the prefect, that is making sure that you guys are doing what you need to do so that we can have the result that we need to have. For example, is Emeka supposed to meet with Charles and have a discussion about a particular feature? Why have they not met? The Scrum Master will be there to make sure and to process and facilitate that discussion. He will be there to make sure that discussion happens. And he would, tell the project manager, hey, project manager, please book a meeting for these guys. Because he knows what is happening within the team. So he's a facilitator of some kind. He facilitates. He makes sure that the events that are supposed to happen are happening. For example, what I can't teach you, I won't be teaching you today, is what is called Scrum events. We have Scrum events, 5 Scrum events, 5. But I'm not teaching it in today's class. So he makes sure that these 5 events are happening correctly. You see, even estimation, even when you are estimating your work, he makes sure that you are doing it rightly. Okay, he makes sure that daily stand-up is happening. I won't explain those ones today. Okay, he's making sure that all these things that I'm showing you, sprint review, all those things are happening. So he's facilitating the process. He's a facilitator. Secondly, he makes sure that the team is self-organizing. Self-organizing is in that they know how to distribute the work within themselves. They know how to do that without necessarily anybody trying to, show, how do I put it now? They know how to distribute the work. This third part is very important. They remove impediments and escalate. In fact, if you ask any Scrum Master, they will tell you that's what they do. Like, that's the only thing that they do. But yes, that's the most significant thing that they do, removing blockers. So let me explain that. So say, for example, I'm working with a team, and this team is dependent on another team. And that team is supposed to give me something that my team needs. I won't allow my team to be distracted if I'm the Scrum Master. So if the team tells me that they are still waiting for that thing, as the Scrum Master, I will go to that team and make sure that I can help to get that thing that they are looking for, so that my team can be head down doing their own work. I will be the one trying to chase all the things that they need. Anything that is a blocker, if something is probably they're not able to get something done, I will have to look for somebody that can help them so that they can focus on their work. So if there is any impediment or any blocker, and if it is something I cannot help them to unblock, I may escalate it to the project manager. I can escalate it to, if it is the BA that will help, I can escalate it to other people. Now in your mind, you're like, this Scrum Master work is very simple though. Yeah, it's easy though. It's easy. And these are the kind of things that people think, if I'm doing this kind of work and they are paying me 120K, it looks like I'm not doing any work. Yes, it looks like that. It looks like that, but you're actually doing some good work there. Apart from that, you are helping the team to do what is called inspecting and adapting. I know I skipped this at the beginning. I'm supposed to tell you about inspection and adaptation. Okay, I'm supposed to teach you about inspection and adaptation. Inspecting the work means you're going to check what you built, okay, to be sure that everybody's on track. You're going to be consistently checking to make sure that everything is on track. And if nothing is on track, if something goes out of track, you bring it back to track. It is adaptation. So inspection is checking to see that everything is on track. Adaptation is checking to bring everything back on track. You see? So you facilitate that inspect and adapt. And then you protect the team from outside disturbances. I'm going to be wrapping up very soon because of the time. Now, those are some of the things that the Scrum Master will do. So the Scrum Master is a facilitator, is a servant leader, meaning he's empowering others to do the right thing. He's empowering others to get the work done. He's empowering others to make sure, he's motivating them. And then he can also train them, because there are some people that don't understand Agile. If you tell them to come to daily stand-up, they will think you are micromanaging them. So they need to understand that it is not micromanage. It is called Scrum meeting. You see? So the Scrum Master will do some training there. Do you understand? Good. Now, let's move on to the next. Product owner. Who is the product owner? Now, I know it may look a bit like tautology to say the product owner owns the product. But really, right, it's kind of that. But here is what the Scrum Guide says, okay? The Scrum Guide. It says that the product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the Scrum team. Let me explain it. I will not explain these other things, but from what I would explain here, you will get the idea. When you want to build a product, you will have a list of features for that product. Please listen carefully to this. When you want to build a product, you have a list of features for that product. Now, let me ask you a question. When you have a product, are all features equally valuable? Are all features on a product equally valuable? Yeah? Are they equally valuable? Hello? Answer me. Are they equally valuable? Some features are more valuable than other features. True or false? True or false? So it means that the value of your product is dependent on the feature. Please listen to this. This is where you get it. The value of your product is depending on the feature. Good. This is where the product owner comes in. So in this place that they say that he's accountable for maximizing the value, what they are telling you that is that he's responsible for maximizing the features. He's the one that will determine and know which features you should be doing now, which features you should be doing next. He's the one that understands the priority of the features, because the features equates to value. And because he's maximizing the value of the product, it therefore means that he's the one maximizing the value of the, he's the one maximizing the priority of the features. Let me show you an example. So he goes into something called a backlog. Okay, let me show you an example. So he goes into something called a backlog. Let's assume that you have 35 of this thing. Okay, your product backlog is where you have all the features. Okay, your product backlog is where you have all the features. Now, he will now determine that this product 4, this PT4 is the most important. It should come to the top. You may be thinking, why are you taking it to the top? It's because anything at the top of your backlog is the most important thing, is of more priority, is of more value. Look at it. Let me show you what I just did right now. Let me just show you what I just did. History. Look at 20 seconds ago. He said, Michael ranked it higher. Why? Because I moved it to the top. He said, Michael what? Ranked it higher because I moved it to the top. So a product owner will come here and he will look at all the things that we want to do. Maybe registration, okay? And login. And matching. And all those things. And he will say, no. This one is more important now. He will take it to the top. And then he will move all those things that are more important, meaning he's maximizing the value that we are creating at any time T on that product. And this is the reason why a product owner can do a BA job. Because if he's maximizing the value of the product, he can also get the requirements for the product. And that is why we have to teach you everything together. Yes. So a BA can do a PO's job. A PO can do a BA job. No big tricks. So that is what a PO is. And then he will then ensure that this goes into the sprint. And this goes into the sprint. Now, I have not talked about sprint. I'll probably teach about that in another class. But for today, I just wanted to help you understand the product owner and the Scrum Master. And who said you cannot do these things? It's not rocket science. So that is the Scrum Master role and the product owner roles. Now, I'm going to draw the curtain there. It's quite a lot. All right, it's quite a lot. And that is what the bootcamp is about. So let's circle back to that. All right, I'm going to give time for some questions and maybe we'll continue on. So let's do this quickly, just in case I may have to. Let me tell my students that they would have to wait for 5 more minutes. Give me a minute. Let me alert them. Okay. Give me a minute. Let me alert them. Okay, I've alerted them so I can spend another extra 5 minutes with you guys. So let me now say a few things and then I'll take questions. Is that okay? I'm going to draw the curtain here. It's a lot. Just go back and look at these things. Again, remember, it's not meant to be too exhaustive. It's just meant to give you the opportunity to begin to appreciate these things. Okay? Now, if you have questions, put it in the Q&A. I will do my best to answer all the questions before I go. But if I cannot, maybe reach out to me privately if that's your question, and then I can chat with you. But I will do my best to make sure I answer everything on this call. Is that okay? Now, before we go, okay, let me tell you how you can get on the bootcamp. Now, the bootcamp starts. So let's first go to the website, theskillgarage.com. Okay, so you can get to the website at theskillgarage.com. You are in the US-Canada region, so go to US-Canada region. All right. Now, you can check out our brochure by clicking on the brochure download, and you can see everything you're going to learn. Okay, you see everything you're going to learn, from the business analysis to project methodologies, requirement engineering, tools, technology, product ownership, what I was just telling you. But I just told you a little. Do you understand? I just showed you the little. You can see that there's a lot more I can show you, or I need to show you, like product, B2B, B2C, product life cycle, personas, user journey maps, product visioning, product strategy. And when you're looking at this thing, I know in your mind, you're like, hey, stray bullets. It's not hard. If I told you what product vision is, you'll be shocked. If I told you what product strategy is, you'll be shocked that, is it this simple? Yes, it's that simple. It's that simple. So you will learn all these things. You will learn Scrum, the Scrum Master I told you about. You're going to learn all of that. I said all of these things yesterday, right? And I said, one of the things that I want to do is to give you the opportunity to have, access to the class, to be able to come to the class, especially for those of you who say, okay, money is the issue and blah, blah, blah. Look this is the value you gain from the bootcamp. I'm not even kidding. From the business analysis training to the product ownership training, Scrum training, and then you do a practicum and accelerator. I told you that one of our products is going to one of the biggest tech conference in North America, which is Collision in June. All right. Career coaching, you get one-on-one between myself and Coach Olu. You get one-on-one personalized CV coaching, and then interview prep. And this thing are worth what it is. In fact, these days it's not even $150 anymore. I saw somebody charging $300 for 1 hour session. And for our students, though, we don't do 1 hour session for CV. Our students know that. But they charge 300, 500. So this one is not even representative. And then we give you a video course on Tableau and SQL. In fact, our data analysis class course is going to start very soon. And you can join that course for 50% if you're on any of our courses. If you're on the business analysis course, we are going to give you that course for 50%. Hands down. Okay, the same way, if you want to join our project management class, if you are on the business analysis class already and you paid for it, we're going to give you that class for 50%. So for those of you who are already our students and you want to do the project management, please reach out to me. I'm going to give you 50% off. If you want to do any of the other courses, just reach out to me. We're going to give you 50% off. I'm still deliberating for the cybersecurity. So just give me some time for the cybersecurity. If you are a student and you want to do any of the other courses, I want to make sure that the instructors can give it to you for 50% off. All right. But I can tell you for sure, for project management, we'll give you for 50% off if you're on our BA course. We're going to give you product management. If you want to go into full product management, we can give you for 50% if you're already a student. All right. And then our data analysis, which is very robust. Olugbemi is going to be teaching that. All right. From all the way from Python to everything. We're going to give it to you for 50%. So that's just one. Now, the next other thing that I want to tell you is normally the highest you can pay on this course is $1,890. All right. But like yesterday, like I said, there's already the early bird. Okay. This course starts on 19th. Okay. On the 19th, which is next week, Friday. Okay. And the timetable is Friday and Saturday. So Friday, like we had yesterday, 7 to 10. Saturday, like today, 4 to 7. All right. Like we're doing today, 4 to 7. Those are the times for the classes. Right. Okay. Myself and Coach Olu. Okay. John is going to be helping me with the UK. All right. John and Sarah. Okay. But myself and Coach Olu, we do for here in North America. All right. Okay. And the rest of my team. Okay. So if you are actually interested and you want to make payment between now and Tuesday, I know I told you between now and today, right? I'm going to change it. So between now and Tuesday, because some of you reached out to me and said, you don't get paid until 15th. I hear you. So what we are going to do, all right? Already, this is one. Normally you would pay $1,890. But what we are saying is that if you're making a one-time payment, and I'm going to put this in the chat quickly, and we're going to send you information about this. So don't worry. So that's the link to the payment. If you're making a one-time payment, we'll give you 25% off. 25%, which is rare for us to do. So meaning that you will use the off 25. So when you say off 25, you apply the code. It's going to reduce that to 1,417 if you're making a one-time payment. Now, if you're making a three-time payment, we're going to give you 20%. So that is off 20, and you apply the code, it's going to reduce it to 500 thereabout. And this is tax. Tax is included. We're not adding tax on top of this. Tax is inside this amount, meaning that we are even charging you much less because, again, we are going to account for 13% tax with the government, right? So this is even, it means you are even getting the cost for much less because this is with tax. All right. So if you are doing a 4-time payment, you say, it's too much. Then you do off 15, you give 15% off, because again, that is a longer time to get the money. We also pay bills, right? We pay our developers, we pay our designers, we get people there all the time. So that will reduce it by 15% for you. And I mean, that's the best that we can do for now to at least help you to come to the other side of the fence and learn the skill, learn how to produce the artifacts, learn the techniques, okay? Learn how to use the tools, okay? Because there are several tools that you're going to use to get the job done, okay? Which is, beyond some of the things that I told you today. And then we can have a good time, take our time, take everything one after the other. You see, all the things I told you, we're going to take our time and go through them one after the other, all right? So if you're looking to join this, we will extend this to, give me a minute. So I'm sending the link, everything, the details is in the chat right now. Okay, we are going to extend it till Tuesday, 11:59 EST on Tuesday. By 11:59 EST on Tuesday, is gone back to the early bird, okay? Early bird is going back to the early bird, all right? So please take advantage. And for those of you who feel like now is not the right time, don't worry. We have this, we'll run a new cohort at least every 6 weeks or every 7 weeks. We run a new cohort. So if this is not the right time for you, at least you've come in contact with us. You can keep in touch with us. You have our Instagram handle is the Skill Garage. Okay, just check Instagram is the Skill Garage. You have our YouTube handle. You have all of those handles. You can come on our website. Okay, you see our WhatsApp. You can reach us on WhatsApp, and you can keep in touch. Okay, and somebody is going to be in touch with you. So you can do all of that stuff. Okay. So for those of you who got the $50 off, okay, for the 4 of you, there are 4 of you that got $50 off. Please let me know. All right. Okay, make your first payment. Don't worry. If you're doing installment, don't worry. Just make your payment. But if you're doing a one-time payment and you got the extra $50 off I gave you on the call, just let me know. I would account for it. But if you are doing installment payment, just make the installment payment towards your last payment. I'll be able to take it off easily. That's not a problem. Okay, so just remind me, I'll take it off. So that's not a big deal. All right. Okay. So now let me focus on some questions. So I want to look at questions now. Can the discount code be extended until Tuesday? I really want to enroll. I just extended it to Tuesday, Grace. So yeah, I just extended it to Tuesday. Diagram and design, which one comes first? Okay, somebody's asking diagram and design, which one comes first? It depends. So if you're doing a process, okay, you may need to do your diagramming, which is your process flow, okay? If you're working more on the product, then maybe design, but it doesn't really matter. It depends on which is needed to explain or to give more light to the requirement at the time, all right? So it's not as if we say, oh, this one comes before this. They are both, ways of exegesis or ways of explaining your requirements. So, there's no real way of saying this and that. All right. Let me answer another question. Basically, the BA is responsible for improvement or to approve the improvement or both. Oh, no, the BA does not approve the improvement. If I understand what you're saying correctly, the BA is kind of responsible for the improvement in the sense that he or she, so please put your questions down. I'm answering questions now, right? So please put your question in the Q&A. Please don't put it in the chat. Put it in the Q&A, please, 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 please. Okay? All right. So the BA is responsible for the improvement in a way, yes. All right? But the way he does that is in the things I have said, where he, gives the requirement, help them to see what they need to build, right? Okay? But he's not the one who approves it. The owner of the work is the person that approves it. Okay? He's the one that confirms that the requirement is good to go. He's the one that does the final confirmation that everything is good. But the BA, yes, helps to facilitate that process. I hope that answers your question. Another one says, basically the BA is responsible for improvement or to approve the improvement of both. Okay, I think it's the same question. Okay, I think it's the same question. So he doesn't approve it. Okay, I think this question maybe came when I was talking about testing. I'm not sure, but I think it came when I'm talking about testing. Now with testing, there are some people called the QA testers. Okay, there are some people called quality assurance. That is their main job. You as the BA, you are just a supplementary tester. You are not the main tester, okay? Although we teach you testing, we teach you some type of testing, we teach you how to create test cases, but that's not your main job, all right? But you can find yourself in places where they want you to do the testing. So how do you cope? You need to know it, right? So that's why we teach you test cases and all of that stuff, okay? All right. Somebody said, please explain frameworks. What frameworks are? I think I did. I explained it. Where can I find the recording, please? On YouTube. And I'm going to give you the recording for yesterday. So let me share the recording from yesterday. Okay. The recording from yesterday can be found here. I'm going to post it in the chat now. Okay. I said I'm going to post it. So I'll post it in the chat now. So that's the recording from yesterday. Okay. The recording from yesterday. That's the replay. The replay from yesterday. You'll find it on here. So okay. All right. What's the next question? Give me a minute. Let me look at the next question. Does Skill Garage help in placements or any references? Yes, so we give references. If you're using any of our companies, we'll give you a reference for your job. We do it every day. I write references every time, right? Yes, we give you references. And the placement is done internally. That is where you do our projects, right? So it's not as if we take you to Facebook and then you do a placement there. No, it's done within our own ecosystem, right? And then we give you that. So I hope that answers your question about references. We give you references. Is the BA in the government sector? Because I see a lot of about product which is common. Yes. But remember what I told you yesterday. If you're looking at the government sector, get a CBAB. Remember what I told you yesterday. If you're looking at the government sector, get a CBAB. But again, you don't really need a CBAB to get a job. But if government sector is really is what is is choking your eye, just try and get a CBAB. It will help and go a long way. Okay. All right. Who approves the project? The stakeholders. Oh, we are the stakeholders in the first place. When you say the stakeholders, who approve the project? Who approves the project? Okay, so there are two ways I understand that question. When you say who approves the project, two ways I understand that question. The first way that I understand that question about who approves the project is who approves the project to start. The person who approves the project to start is actually the sponsor. Then the person who approves that the project is done, okay, that you guys have finished what you need to do, okay, could either be, of course, the sponsor will be part of those, but anybody representing the business, okay, anybody representing the business, okay, can actually approve the project, okay? So I hope that is answering your question. Okay. In the bootcamp training is there, so there are breaks. We take breaks. This one is a stretch, so yes, so there are breaks in the bootcamp for sure. Okay, we take 10 minutes break. In fact, the bootcamp is not, this is not, we don't teach like this in the bootcamp. Like, no, you go for breakout room, we'll take you to breakout room, okay? So this is a master class, call it a crash course, all right? So there's so much I can do within that time. So I just want to make sure that we can cover a lot. Do you understand? So yes, we have breaks. All right. Somebody's asking, in the bootcamp training, is there a break between 3 hours? 3-hour class is a stretch in new materials. And yeah. So yes, in the 3-hour class. So when we say 3-hour class, the 3-hour class is not to be teaching like this. No, we don't do that in the bootcamp. So in the bootcamp, what you do is you do breakout rooms, you do discussion, you do exercise. In those, you do quiz, you do all those things. So you take breaks, you take 10 minutes, toilet break and things like that. So that's what you have in those 3 hours. All right. These 2 days It's just 2 days. You can't compare it to 10 weeks. We can't be doing this bam, 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 10 weeks. No, come on. It doesn't work like that. All right. Aha. So the 3 hours is like today, for example, when I was teaching the UK class, 1 hour, we use 1 hour to, to just build stuff, right? 1 hour. And they were just working for those 1 hour, trying to build stuff. So it's not as if the 3 hours will just be bang, 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 throwing you information. No, that's not how it is. Somebody's asking, is the training online also? Of course, it's online. We don't have a physical presence. All right. Everything that we do is done through Zoom. All right. Even your project is done through Zoom. So it's a virtual online remote learning. Okay. All right. Remy, I think that question is already answered. You want to say something? I think I already answered your question. Remy, I think I already answered your question. I've unmuted you. I think I already answered your question. I think I already answered your question. Remy, I unmuted you, Remy. You want to say something? Is Remy there? Okay, I don't think he's unmuting. I tried to unmute you. All right. So guys, thank you so much. That's so much that we can take today. I won't be able to take so much again, but I believe that your time has been worth the while, right? It's been worth your time. It's been worth the while. And you can then decide where you want to go from here. Okay, like I said, the boot camp typically is 10 weeks, and then you do those other project stuff and everything in between. And of course, we do not stretch like this for 3 hours, just talking and talking. No. In the boot camp, we'll break you into groups. You will work with your group. You will bring back some results. You'll be doing some things. We'll give you some work to do. So it's really more like 1.5 or 2 hours of teaching and 1 hour of doing the work, right? So that's what it is like on the boot camp. All right. So I'll see you when I see you. For those of you who will be coming to the boot camp, I will see you on Friday. Again, that is the link to the payment. And I'm going to send you the link to our Telegram. Okay, let me send you the link to Telegram quickly. Let me send you the link to Telegram. Please join our Telegram group. That is the link to Telegram. And if you have any questions, please come to our website. Come to our website, click on the WhatsApp there, or join me on LinkedIn. You can come and check me out on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn here. Okay, you can find me on LinkedIn. That is me here. Just connect with me, send me a message on LinkedIn. I will definitely, respond to you. Okay, so check me out on LinkedIn here. All right, that is all that we have for today. Remy, I don't know if you wanted to say something. Oh, thank you so much, Rosman. Thank you so much for the for the hype. Thank you so much, Rosman. I appreciate it. All right. I think that is all for today. Okay, Remy said I've answered his question, so that's fine. All right. So I'll see you in the bootcamp. And for those of you who I'm not going to be able to see this time around in the bootcamp, hopefully in the future, I will have the privilege to mentor you and to help you transition into tech. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Thank you for joining, and don't give up. Don't despair. You can do it. Bye for now. Bye, everyone.